Isn't this all from out of the big lake that all get to here they say your mom is up for dead when the girls and all never got
All right, I guess I'm a little late. Welcome to SmallmouthCrush Live, January 9th. Is this the first show of the new year? I can't remember.
Negatory, man. Second.
Oh.
We already had our New Year's episode.
Hold on one second. I'm getting interrupted.
What you got?
Yes. He wants to talk to me? All right. Carry on, Eric. 1 second, bud.
Okay. Well, guys, how you guys doing out there? We got
hey, what's up?
Special show. Hey, Trav, could you mute?
The Grand Canyon, what'd you see there?
Let's just listen in.
Yeah, big ass hole, man. That's awesome. You having fun?
That's Cole in the background.
All right. I'm just on a podcast right now. That's all right. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Ew.
All right. You want to keep talking or you want me to give you back to your mom?
Can't really decide.
Oh, I knew you would say that.
Yeah, man.
Anyways.
Hey, Trevor, you're going to stay in the group.
Hey, Jill, was that cool?
What?
Was that cool, the train?
Yeah. And cowboys robbed the train.
Did they?
Yeah.
Cowboys robbed the train.
Yeah. And they had to take everybody's money.
They took your money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cowboys.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll get you some money when you get back here. Why not?
Okay.
All right. You see rattlesnakes yet?
No.
No. All right, bud. All right. I'll let you talk to mom, okay? Here you go.
Okay, everybody. That was Cole.
That train in the Grand Canyon.
Cole Manson.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Welcome back to the show. Yeah, no,
Jeez.
hey, no worries, man. I didn't do anything because we just wanted to listen in. The mic was still on, so we got to listen to Cole.
He's Arizona with the grandparents. So
yeah. They got robbed, it sounds like. The Cowboys
sounds like
came
they got
and took all
robbed.
their money.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you're going to give him some money.
Cowboys.
He didn't really want the money. That's all right.
No. Yeah,
he knows what's up.
Interested. That's
no,
right.
it doesn't matter. Right, exactly. You got him good. You're indoctrinating him. It's perfect.
How was your week?
My week's been good.
Yeah.
It's good. I see a little light at the end of the tunnel, man.
Nice.
You know, yeah, I got Bass Fest coming up at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. I'm gonna head up there.
You're going
TK
to that?
Stanley's. Yeah, he's TK is painting some baits for Greg DePalma. So I was able to source some baits, and TK's doing a quick job. It's something that GDP wants. So he also bought a Loomis for me up there when it was on sale. So we're gonna do a little exchange, crankbaits and rods, and I'm gonna pop around the shop for a little bit, say hi to the boys up at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle for Bass Fest. I think I might be going to some flea markets, Florida in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're happy. You're a happy man. I didn't make this
not really. What do you got?
I didn't make this announcement official yet, but I believe I will be at the Susquehanna Fishing Store here on the 11th or the 4th. I can't remember now. the 11th, I believe, Bass weekend or Bass Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll be doing a seminar there. So I haven't committed. I mean,
February.
I guess I am here live, but I haven't talked to George or Mike. Yes, February 11th, I believe.
Okay.
If somebody in the comments can confirm that their Bass Saturday is that date, I will be there doing seminars and hanging out all day long. So if you want to go check that out, that'll be pretty cool.
Absolutely,
I figured I got to do something, you know.
You got to do something, man.
Haven't done any of the shows. It's about
it's a good local one, man. People, you know, plus it's there's a big smallmouth.
I will be in New York. I'm going to come back down for that, but
you're doing it.
There today, but I dropped the load off. I stopped at Cortland, by the way. The show sponsored.
I saw that
Cortland line, and they hooked me up with a bunch of some Dacron for ice fishing.
Is that the ice fishing line? Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Man.
So if you guys need to spool your tip ups. Now, there's another product that they have, and I don't know if this is on the market or not. And again, I don't know a whole lot about ice fishing. Obviously, I'm getting back into it, but they have a line for tip ups, and it's just labeled. It says tip up 0.035, 50 yards. And so this is, I don't even know. It's like a plastic coating. I'm sure Brooks is watching right now, shaking his head, but this is it, Eric, right? So
yeah,
maybe like I'm going to say it's like a fly line backing type of feel.
Dacron is what generally I used to use for fly line backing.
Sure.
Dacron.
So this is going to be a little bit more manageable. I'm just experimenting a little bit. So very cool, man. Glad I was able to do that.
That's very cool. That's all. Productive trip. You emptied the trailer. You could take another load up there, man. That trailer's going to pay for itself. Things are looking up. New York bound, man. February.
Every day.
Come on. I love it.
Yes,
I love it. Somebody asked South Jersey. Wait a minute. South Jersey said, is it TPE coating? What does it say?
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Let's say hi to everybody in the chats. We got a nice group of people already.
Oh, yeah, man.
We see some familiar and some people I haven't seen in a while in the chat.
Well, who's new? Who's new and who hadn't been here in a while? Come on, sound off right now. Danny's Kitchen. Dude, I think he's a West Coaster, man. What up, Danny? Robert Linson, West Coast. Let's go. Yeah. First time, Bass or Mike. Come on now.
Bass or Mike.
Wave currents and ice. I'm new. Hella Bass is new. Look at you guys trying to fool us, man. You can't fool us, man.
That's right.
St. Chris is new. Hey, St. Chris, welcome to the stream for the first time. Danny's Kitchen. Yep, California.
That's brand new.
I know him, man. I follow him on Instagram. He comments on my posts, man. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate your comments, man. I dig what you're doing out there, man. Check him out, guys. He's on Insta. Look at all these new guys. George Voll's new. Sitting down. See, everybody's trying to play us a trick.
Fishing with, come on, you guys.
Is this a fishing show? JM Fishing, thanks for coming back. Tom, first time in a long time. You guys are killing me. Man. What up? What up? Well, very good. Very good, man. Very good. Very good. Hey.
Yeah.
If you can guess what's in the box, you get one. I've talked about it. Guess. I've talked about this box.
One bait, whatever. Just one bait.
What's in
this box? What do I have to guess? What's in the whole box?
No, what's going to be in the box. I've showed this box before on your stream. If you guess it, I'm putting one together for you. And I'll probably put one together for you anyway.
I know you will.
What is it?
It's the...
Guys, what is going to be in this box? Oh, man. Look, everybody's like sound. Everybody knows it too, by the way, on the stream. They've been paying attention, man. This is going to be the Legends box. I got a special black box in. This is the Legends crankbait box. I've decided to do this. I'm going to curate these boxes. You guys get to talk to me and decide what's in it. I'm going to do a post on Instagram. I'm going to list the balsa, custom balsa bait makers, and you get to pick. Because if you go full boat, this is truly a collectible box. You don't have to go full boat. I could do something custom, smaller for you. And what I think I'm going to do is like, you know, a Dr. Frankenstein t-shirt and a Bass Lab hat that comes with it. So that's just kind of my pitch in for the box. So reach out to me. I have some names for people that already wanted to do it, but it'll be a curated box. You get to spend a little time with me in my balsa collection. So that's part of the ante. So anyway, there you go. Let me know. Reach out. I'm going to do a post. You can comment on the post too on Instagram in the next week. Okay. Right on, guys.
Fair enough.
That's what's new with the Bass Lab.
Perfect.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So listen, Eric, I'm glad you kind of took charge today. On my drive home
Yeah.
from New York, I was a little busy.
I did it for you, man.
Going on. And
do you know how I put that little shot together? I took screenshots off of Instagram and then I pick stitched it together. How'd I do?
You did good, man.
I mean, not bad. You used it. It was helpful.
Yeah.
At least I could do is pitch in.
I'll
do it next week for TK
it's
too.
It's very important to when we go live to let everybody know just 3 hours prior, you know, what we're doing that week. It's good for
be a little bit better next week.
Stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll get
exactly.
That, you know?
Yeah.
It's been rough since Alex, left. So.
I know.
What are you going to do?
How are those applications for the intern coming along?
So no applications yet. Nobody signed up. Nobody wants to be part of the SmallmouthCrush internship program. I don't get it, but I don't ask for much.
All right. Well, we got a show tonight, man. We do.
Scalish. Looking forward to it.
Scalish ×2 in the house, man.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, man. It's Tails and Scalishes. That's what I like to call it. That's pretty good ring, man. Tails and Scalishes. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you think?
Without further ado,
boom. Bring him in.
Barker. She cute? Well, I don't know. Is this guy cute?
There's a lot. Right. There is a lot wrong with you two.
Right.
That's
welcome back, man. It's been a while. I know you've been on a VIP of I guess back in the fall, and prior to that, it's been a while. So
I'm glad to be back. Good, busy. You know the drill.
Right.
Fishing gets in the way of fishing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
No question.
That's a good problem to have.
Oh man. Well, let's so it's kind of a cool little deal because we also have your son, Junior.
Nice.
What's up, dudes?
Look at that. That's a scary proposition right there.
Man, you made it.
That's 2 generations of Scalishes right there. It's crazy.
Scales, tails.
That's what I said, man. Scalishes and tailishes.
Well, the crazy enough thing is that summer, everybody who knows me knows summer's like my favorite time to be fishing because I'm offshore, don't have to be bothered by everybody else, and I can do my thing. Wintertime bass fishing is probably creeping in on one of my favorite times of year to fish. We've been very fortunate over the last several years to really be catching them. And we had that cold front. Everybody knows the deep freeze that came in.
Yeah.
It locked us up instantly. And so I hadn't really gotten out all that much because I do most of my damage from Thanksgiving until the end of January, February, unless we freeze first. So I got, just to prove that you two aren't the only sick ones in the house. So I got to go out literally this weekend, 2 days in a row. Man. And Frankie fished with me Sunday, and I fished by myself on Saturday, 2 different lakes, by the way. And I did not catch a fish in 2 days.
Damn.
Right? So wait a second. So I came home last night, and my mother-in-law was here, for dinner, and I pulled in, threw the boat in the garage, threw the stuff downstairs, and my wife Rachel said, "Hey, did you catch anything?" I go, "No." Right. And she goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, no, I didn't catch anything." She goes, "Are you mad?" I go, "No, I don't care." And so we had
that's not true.
100% not true. So we ate dinner. My mother-in-law leaves. The Cavs come on TV. So I'm 4 beers into the Cavs before the first quarter, and I keep thinking about the last 2 days on the water. So I'm getting kind of not irritated, but I'm kind of frustrated because what could I have done different? You know the drill. You know how we are. If you're not doing great, you're trying to figure everything out. Anyhow, I say, screw it. It's only 2 days. It was only 2 days. And normally that is not something that's going to happen. So I went to bed.
Especially not where we were at Sunday.
No. So I went to bed. So here, listen to this. I have a dream. All right. Now, remember, Rachel asked me if it bothered me that I didn't catch fish. Even my mother-in-law, who doesn't know anything about fishing except to eat them, asked me if it bothered me that I didn't catch fish. And of course, I lied with a smile on my face and said, no, it was great just to be out. Okay. So meantime, I have a dream. So here's, you guys, there is something wrong with me and I'm going to go get it looked at. So here, swear to God. So here's the dream.
Take Travis.
I dreamt that I was in another classic. Wow. And I weighed in a big bag on the first day.
Holy
and
shit.
I weighed a big bag on the second day. And the third day, I caught them really good. And I was so excited, and there was fans out there, and everything was going on, and I was so happy, and I was talking to everybody and doing my thing, and I forgot to weigh in my fish.
Oh.
So
that's the best story I've ever heard. That's a great dream.
I swear to God, I jumped out of bed like, holy shit, that can't possibly be true. and it's pitch black in my room, and I wake up and I go, oh, thank God, it's only a dream. And then I'm like, I was like, just because I didn't catch fish for 2 days.
That's freaking awesome. That's like the dream. I don't know how many people have had it out there to say, if you do, like, holy shit, I didn't graduate because I missed one class, like missing credits. I forgot to take the test. Like, I had that dream.
I never had that one. I dreamt that.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Hey, just for the record, I didn't get skunked Sunday.
No.
Just saying.
Let's hear it. What'd you catch?
110 incher. It was great.
But hey, we've all had a day like that where that's pride on the line, man, right?
He smoked me. He smoked me.
I had to write it down. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I caught more fish than Dad January 8th.
Yeah, he smoked me, man.
Hey, man. What is it like, Frank Jr.? And by the way, thank you for your service, man. I appreciate that. For those of you guys who don't know, Frank Jr. is a veteran, so I just want to say thank you for your service right out of the gate, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So what was that fishing question you were asking
first? The fishing question is what's it like to fish behind the man? Like growing up, and like what was your experience? I mean, take us back a little bit.
When did you
now?
Did you always like fishing? Was it something that was part of you growing up? Like,
yeah, definitely. So I mean, he's had me in the boat since I could cast. I mean, he taught me how to cast. When did you teach me how to use a bait caster? When I was like 3 or 4.
2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay. 2 or 3.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I used to have to tie the fishing rods to the boat, though.
Yeah, I used to throw them
because he used to throw them off the boat randomly for no reason.
You get frustrated when you fish, you know what I mean? But
I know an adult
like,
guy who's been on.
Like,
wait a minute, I know an adult guy
right, doing that. He wasn't like 8 or 9 throwing a rod over the side.
Hey, Travis, I know an adult guy who's been on this show that throws rods into the water.
Yeah, I've actually seen somebody on the water throw rods on the water.
Oh yeah. I've been there when it's happened twice.
That's something I've never done.
Yeah.
Me either.
Can't say that I have either.
I can't remember. I don't ever remember doing that, so I don't know if it's true or not. But no, I mean, go ahead.
No, you go. It's true. Okay. Go. It's you're talking.
But growing up fishing with him, it was fun. I mean, when he went to the elites,
Hey, I
Hey,
spent
but you
my
know
whole
what?
life. I spent my whole life learning that.
Yeah.
But no, he was always good. You know, growing up, if we were flipping the bank or whatever, you know how it is. If you're in the front of the boat and you're target fishing like that on the bank, I mean, whoever's running the boat's 100% got the advantage. And he would just be like, "Hey, make sure you throw in there. I didn't cast in there." You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, well, I know. Trust me. I'm watching where you cast. You know, and he's like,
That's right. That's right.
You know,
He's leaving you a bone.
But no, man, he's a machine. It was fun, you know. But when he went to the elites and stuff, you know, I was 11 or 12, and
Yeah,
you know, the next year after that, I was in high school. So he was gone, and I was a high schooler, you know, and you know,
I mean,
you don't fish as much, you know.
Yeah, right.
It was weird. I mean, that was a weird dynamic because I literally, and I feel terrible.
No.
I literally was gone through most of my kids growing up. My wife did it by herself, basically, because I was at the time I was traveling 238 days a year.
Yeah, but we
holy moly.
Like we all missed you, you know. I mean, obviously.
Well,
but,
yeah, but
it was awesome. It was awesome.
No, but what I mean, it was tough because, you know, everybody sees the tournament trails, and Frankie's going to start doing them too. So they see the tournament trails on TV, and they see the, you know, yeah, you know what I mean? They see all the rah-rah stuff and the excitement and everything that's entailed around that. But what they don't see is the family dynamic, and they don't see the pain and the trials that you go through to stay where you're at, to do that. And the only way that I could describe it to anybody was that as bad as I wanted to leave and be on another lake, the minute I get on the other lake is as bad as I want to be home with the kids.
Wow.
And so you always got that thing. So I told my wife, I said, here, look, I'm not going to be able to get home in a day.
Yep.
Don't call me unless one of the kids is in the hospital. And I literally, the minute I pull out of the driveway, home didn't exist anymore because I couldn't think about everything else, bills, broken this, broken that, whatever.
Sure. So I answering calls.
I don't. Yeah, dude. Half the time I didn't even have my phone on.
Wow. I'm just teasing.
Because you got to focus on what you're doing, and it was tough, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Never.
Sure.
Would I trade
Absolutely, man. So how did fishing with your father shape the way you approach things now as a tournament angler? Fast forward, you know, and I know we're skipping high school, your life in the military. How did he shape you as an angler? And then I want to go to the next level, which is like, do you guys fish team tournaments, and what's the dynamic? Like, what kind of an angler are you, Frank Scalish Jr.? I can't wait to hear that thing. So let's talk about you and how your experience with your dad shaped you as an angler. What's your style? Tell everybody about you as an angler today.
I wouldn't pinpoint me to any one style. I would say that, you know, I mean, he was really the only fishing influence I had till I started fishing as a when I was like 19 or 20. Okay. So, I mean, my preference were very similar, but very different at the same time. So I like offshore fishing, and, you know, I'm happier offshore. I don't like bed fishing, right? I don't really want to beat the bank. I'll do it like I'll Ned rig if I have to, but I'd rather not. But I did it last year a ton on St. Clair and stuff, you know?
Yep.
And you just got to, the one thing is, it doesn't matter what you like more or less. You have to do whatever is necessary, whether it's comfortable or not, to catch bass. That's the whole name of the game, right? Like my first BFL season was last year. It did not matter to me as long as I found fish and I figured out how to catch them. And all last year was all brand new water to me. I've never seen St. Clair. I've never seen Detroit River. And I never saw the western side of Lake Erie. Except for around the islands, I have been around, but not a ton. Like He would take me to the lake when I was younger, but I didn't grow up primarily fishing on Lake Erie.
No.
I fished more largemouth stuff inland and elsewhere than I have anywhere else. But his constant beating of structure, it's relevant in all phases of fishing, no matter what. Yeah. It's the cover on the structure that changes, and that's the most important. Very interesting. You know what I mean? So that's how I try to attack everything.
Yep.
Granted, St. Clair's a weird place, and Travis, you know that. Like it's the only place I've ever been where I found it easier to actually see bass, smallmouth on side scan. Like I found them in the middle of a sand flat, just on like the slightest little break. There's a whole school just on a sand flat. Crazy. It was St. Clair was really weird for me, but I love it. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
I mean, I told him to fish. I told him when you start fishing, fish some local stuff first. Get your feet wet just with the whole game. Don't be so caught up in, I got to catch 1,000 fish a day. Just get used to the game. And then when you start to make your, transition into the real fishing game, get out of Ohio and start fishing. And so he signed up for the Michigan division, and I didn't offer a whole hell of a lot of help, because you all know, and all you guys watching know, it's a confidence game. If you doubt yourself, it takes you too long to make decisions on the water. And bass fishing success in the tournament game is all about making decisions without having to make a decision. You don't have to think about it. It's like turning your turn signal on in your car. You don't think, oh, I'm going to turn left. Oh, I better turn my turn signal on. You just hit it and turn. And that's how your decision making has to be on the water. And so I found that as he got older, and then when I stopped fishing Bassmasters, him and I started fishing together every possible second. Every second we could fish together.
That's when the learning really started.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and so I noticed, and then I'll talk about a team tournament. But I noticed that in him, he can flat out catch fish. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I noticed a weak spot. And so when I told him, get out of Ohio, I don't care where you fish, but don't do it here. You have to see lakes that you're not familiar with, and you have to go to lakes that actually have gobs of fish in them. Now, we do really good here, don't get me wrong, but it's way different. Trust me. The lakes are tiny little lakes. Everybody knows everything, and if you put 40 boats on a lake, you can't get out of anybody's way.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I needed to get out of Ohio. So growing up fishing all these inland lakes around here, he's been fishing them forever. So when we go as growing up, then I'm fishing all his stuff. And then when I go to look for new stuff in those lakes, sure, sometimes I find it, but I mean, when you put him on a lake for 20, 30 years and the lake, is 2,000 acres of water or 3,000 acres of water, he's probably been over the whole lake with a flasher and then again with side image. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's good to get away from all the history and just start fresh. And and when we talked about it before the season started for the Michigan division, I was like, I don't want anything. I don't want help.
And I didn't get.
Well, I said I'll talk to you after I'm done practicing, and we can just have a casual conversation more about fundamentals of fish locating than anything. I don't want your waypoint. I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's for whatever reason I'm stubborn, and it's important for me to just do it on my own. Sink or swim. Right. It's like the first tournament last year. I tanked it hard on St. Clair. Tanked it hard. I took 96. But I also took a gamble, right? So I've never been on St. Clair a day in my life.
Yep.
I started fishing it pre-spawn sort of last year just to get familiar with the lake. And then before our first tournament, I was in Canada the entire time just graphing for days.
because you weren't allowed to fish. It was off limits.
It was off limits.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't even fish. I just graphed for days, like $100 worth of gas a day graphing. And I found a bunch of cool stuff that ended up playing for me in the second tournament. But
That's cool.
when we launched for our first tournament, that was opening day for Canada. So I'd never thrown a line in Canada. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
You know, I overestimated how deep they'd be by then, and they were still a little shallower than I was fishing. And, you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah, but that was the right call. I don't care that was the right call.
You were joking, kind of, but like, so you didn't give him any waypoints, like you wouldn't want to do that for your son.
I would give him the shirt off of my back. But what he had to do is he has to do it on his own for confidence, and he can do it. So that wasn't the issue. The issue was, like, I would say, hey, if you're out there and you see something like this, don't ignore that. So I would say smallmouth will behave like this, but there's times when, like, truth be told, I said smallmouth are structure-oriented creatures, but don't be fooled by that, because they'll use structure and they'll suspend the same height as the structure, but way off of it. So don't be afraid to get off of it. If you find something on structure and you go back there and they're not there, they didn't vacate. They're just hanging out way away from the house right now. So just go out there and scan around till you find them, you know, stuff like that. But I didn't say, oh, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that. You know what I mean? I would be like,
yeah, it wasn't just go here and go catch them here, right?
Sure.
Right.
You know,
right.
But I mean, we talk, you know, that's how our conversations go. It's just like, you know, I'd be like, man, I found all this stuff. There's nothing on it and whatever. Or yeah, there was some on it. They're small, you know, there's 3-pounders or 2-pounders or whatever. And, you know, the conversation goes on from there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then, you know, and you guys know Lake Erie flows from west to east. So it runs from the Detroit River to the Niagara River. And so if you got to watch your wind direction, because it'll stall the current. There's a lot of there's a ton of current between the islands and the Detroit River. There's a ton of current. It wanes in the midsection of the lake, and then as you get closer to Niagara, where it starts to funnel, the current starts to pick up again. Wow. But if you have an east wind or a northeast wind, it starts to stall that current. And so it changes where the smallmouth are relating to it, because aggressive smallmouth are always on the up current side of things. And aggressive smallmouth's kind of like the wrong term, because they're always aggressive. Some are just neutral. So you can always make them bite, but some are just neutral. So if they're aggressively feeding and they're active, they're on the up current side of rock pile structure, etc. And if they're not, they'll be on the down current side of it, or suspending off of it. And that's the whole key. And so I always pay attention to wind, especially on Lake Erie where the current's prevalent, because a west wind will make that current start ripping. It'll crank and the fish get active and they feed like mad. So, and you get a south wind, southwest will do the same thing as a west, but when you get a dead south wind, it starts to get a little different because it's making the current do funny things. And a north wind, same way. Northwest wind, they feed like mad because it's pushing with the current. So the water's going faster. But anything out of the east, it stops it, and the lake is tough. It's tough.
Fascinating, man. There's a couple of largemouth fisheries like that. Like, it's wind-driven tide. If you don't play the wind, man, you can be DOA. And I'll say this about largemouth: fishing grass beds, and people don't pay attention to it. If I can find current and that grass is leaning, that's where the bigger bass will be. You can catch them anywhere. That's the money. It's got to be the right grass, but with current and the right setup on the grass line. But anyway, it's very fascinating to me what you just said. I don't know anything about Erie, but wow, that was a gem. Good stuff. Yeah, now I want to hear about the team tournament with the Scalishes.
Okay, so here's the truth of this whole story.
All right.
when I stopped fishing Bassmasters, I stopped fishing tournaments entirely.
Wow.
So my buddy Paul, if anyone followed Bassmasters, you'll remember Paul Horoski. So he's from PA. So Paul, Paul stopped fishing a few years before me. When I stopped fishing, I think I had done it for 10 or 11 years already. Damn. And it was a sponsor thing. And anyway, that's a different story, but it was a sponsor thing. And when you're playing poker and you bluff, you got to be willing to walk away from the table. So I kind of did that and off I went. Anyway, so the long and short of it is I fished 4 tournaments with Paul right when I stopped fishing the elite. Right when I stopped, I went right into it with Paul. Well, we wound up, we won 2, we took a second, and we took a third. And then the trails said, we don't want you two as a team anymore. And so I quit fishing completely, not just because of that, but because look, this is going to sound so bad. When you fish at the professional level, and you are constantly, your entire career, you fight for real estate, you fight for notoriety, you fight for fish. You're constantly, you're driven to stay in that range where you don't become irrelevant. Okay. When you come back, and it's kind of different down south where the reservoirs are massive, gigantic reservoirs. It's a little bit different because you could fish tournaments and you're not in anybody's way. They're not in your way, and you could fish and normal. But in Ohio, everything is small. Everything is tight. So if you win, you should never be there in the first place. If you lose, you're a nobody. So no matter if you win, you lose, and if you lose, you lose. And so there's no percentage in it. I would rather be friends with everybody and not have the ass ache, because to be honest, to be truthful, to go out and win $500, I could give a crap. You know what I mean? I could care less, because the aggravation to go win that 500 is more aggravation than trying to win 100,000 on the elites. It's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
So these boneheads, Frankie and my youngest son Josh, sign up for this team trail. They put me down as an alternate.
Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course I did. Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So as the story goes, I'm never going to fish because the two of them boneheads are never getting out of the boat. So it's okay. So he's like, I put you down as an alternate. I said, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. So my son, Josh, pitched. He pitched on the travel league, and he's pitching in college now. Anyway, he gets called to go pitch out of town. So he's not going to be able to make the tournament. So these guys call me up, and they're like, Dad, Josh can't make the tournament. You got to fish it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I said, he tells me the lake it's on, and I said, oh yeah, that won't be it. That'll be fine. So Frankie goes, Dad, I'm at drill and I won't be able to practice.
I was in Michigan at a training event.
Yeah. So he goes,
my God.
Yeah. So he's like, I won't be able to practice. You gotta do the dirty work. And I'm like, yeah,
solo.
Okay. Yeah. I go, no problem. He goes, and at the time I didn't have my legend. I didn't have my bass boat yet. So I had my little 14-foot aluminum with 2 trolling motors on it. So I said, he goes, you could run to the house and get the bass boat. I go, nah, I'll just take the tin can. So I go, Josh, when are you leaving? He goes, I'm leaving. I got to leave the day before the tournament. I said, oh, so you could practice with me then. He goes, yeah, I want to go. So I go, okay. So, and I hadn't been on this lake in 10 years, 12.
That's crazy.
Okay. So we literally, I got two electric trolling motors. Okay, so
on an unlimited horsepower lake where the pleasure boaters.
oh,
Right.
dude, yeah, it's like Rodney Dangerfield, drop the anchor.
It's
So
tiny.
it's like
It's a tiny lake. It's tiny.
it's super tiny. So
Tiny.
anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, so I put the tin can in the boat, and we launch, and you know what I mean, and we're doing that. Anyway, I go, Josh, we're going to stop right here for a minute. He goes, Dad, the ramp's right there. You know what I mean? I go, yeah, I know, but I need a depth range, dude. We got to catch something. I said, I'll throw the DD22. You throw the C rig. Let's get a depth range. First cast, I get one about 3 pounds on the DD. I'm like, uh-oh. And then he catches one. I'm like, uh-oh. And then he catches another one. He catches another one. I'm like, let's go. I know exactly what we got to do. And so we got the 2 trolling motors on, and we're just going
4.5 miles an hour of it.
And we're going a long ways. So we're just sitting there, I get to the first spot, and it was an absolute freak show.
Oh, wow.
So at noon, we're leaving the lake. And
Wow.
and Josh is like, I got to call Frankie. I go, man, whatever. Do what you got to do. Well, I literally stopped at certain little nooks and crannies. And if we caught 1 or 2, we left. We didn't
lean on them.
I didn't wreck them. But the best 5 I had was probably 18, 19 pounds.
Is that good for that lake?
Well, I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
So we're driving home. We caught probably 40 or 50. And
Good
we're
Lord.
driving home, and Josh calls Frankie, and Frankie is like, oh my God, anyway, Frankie says, you better check the weights on that lake because it only takes 9 pounds to win that. And I'm like, what? Because it wasn't, that lake didn't used to be that way. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, 9 pounds. Check it out. So God is my judge. I get home on the computer, looking at the tournament results for that whole month, 8-15, 9-2, 9-7.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I won a tournament there the year before last in the spring.
Yeah.
With like 8.25 pounds. And the closest person to us was 6 pounds.
Oh my God.
We were the only 2 boats with a limit.
Wow.
Yeah. So flash back to this team tournament. So we go, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna smoke their ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the first 45 minutes of the day, you know how many we caught?
What?
0.
0.
Nothing.
1. You caught 1.
No. The first 45 minutes, we didn't catch a bass. Nothing.
Take your word.
And so he's like, you guys leaned on him too hard. And I'm like, I don't think we did. We're going to find them. We just got to keep poking. And then, dude, I figured it out. We found where they were at, and we started catching them. And then, and the funniest thing is, I'm not catching the big slaunches that we had.
Yeah.
That I was catching, because it was at this point, it was what, 2 weeks later or a week later? A week later. A week later.
I think it was almost 2.
Okay.
And so, I hit it right when we were practicing there, and they were still moving. Anyway, so we get on them, and we're catching them, but I'm not catching the big size. And Frankie, what went out, the crank or the trolling motor?
Cranking battery. Because you told me to put in that other battery, and I told you it's probably not a good idea.
Oh no!
You're like, no, that's fine. I'm pretty sure it's not, but okay.
Yeah, it's my fault. So it's my fault.
It was your fault. What do you mean?
Can you picture us on the water now?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, I'm getting it.
Sometimes we act more like brothers than father and son.
Sometimes.
Us two right here above you guys. Yeah, I get it. It's
Oh,
the four square for sure.
And just so Smallmouth Crush stays true to word, that's all we were fishing for was smallmouth.
Ah.
And same thing when I practiced with my other son, only smallmouth. So, so the batteries go dead, and we're kind of smoked. And what did we wave that guy down, or did
we waved that? What was it, whatever pleasure boat it was? I don't remember. Was it a pontoon?
Well, what do you have in the well right now?
Yeah.
Well, we have 5, but we need, because it's towards the end of the day. It's like an hour.
We needed a couple calls, is what we needed.
Okay.
And so anyway, so these guys, we're flagging, this pleasure boat comes by, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my buddy's got a jump box. He's all the way over there. I'm gonna call him and tell him you guys are gonna go meet him." And I'm like, "But we can't get going. We gotta,
we got nothing.
We're dead in the water."
So he goes, "I'll call him. He's in that big red boat over there." And dude, it's the red boat looks like, that big. So we're like, holy shit. So, okay, cool. So he calls and he says, yeah, he said he'll go. And so we're on the trolling motor, killing the rest of the battery juice that we don't have.
Oh my gosh.
Going. Finally, what's that?
Trolling motor was fine.
He came out and met us then, right?
He gave us a jump box.
Yeah, but he came out to us when we were going in. Anyway, so we get the thing started, and we had brand new, like Frankie's wearing right there, brand new POW hats. And
colors. One was chartreuse and one was like a vibrant orange. And he's like,
yeah,
we want your hats in exchange for a jump. So I was like, okay.
and then his kid goes, well, can I have one? And I took mine off and go, yeah, here, flung it
like,
at
I don't care,
dude.
I mean? Just jump this, man.
Get it going.
Not working, dude.
So we got it going. We ran around a little while to make sure we get it juiced up. Then we
didn't shut the outboard off the rest of the day.
No, and then
just let it idle all day.
And so then we wound up scrambling a little bit, and then we were running out of time. I go, we got one more call. Let's go back to this place. We run back there. Frankie throws out, I think we're calling. I go, yeah, we're calling. So we called, and the limit wasn't big. It was what, 13 pounds?
Not
maybe.
Even. It was 12 and change.
12 and change. Anyway, I'm like, shit. You know what I mean? It's like, And so I'm like, we don't.
I was like, I'm pretty sure we're okay.
And Frankie's like, yeah, I think we won, Dad. I go, I don't think so. Anyway, so we come in and we're like one of the last people to weigh in. And sure enough, second place was 9 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but hey, he had 4 fish, though, to get for his credit.
Yeah, he did have 4. Yeah.
He had one real big one.
How about that?
Yeah,
crazy.
I also fished a tournament in Ohio in April, right after a massive cold front, where it went from like mid to upper 40s down to 16 the night before, and they dropped the lake 2 feet to where me and Josh caught 2 bass that day, and we took 8th place, and everybody below us zeroed all the way to like 27 boats.
God, that's brutal.
It was brutal, man. I like Erie, Detroit River, and St. Clair a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 100%.
You know what's Lake Erie largemouth fishing is sometimes underrated for the guys who follow the Lake Erie largemouth trail.
It's often underrated.
There's some good largemouth fishing on Erie. I did that for a little while too, and then I was like, why am I fishing Erie all the time and fishing for greenfish?
Is it as good as it used to be for largemouth?
The largies?
That's his question.
Yeah, I think so. The obvious places are not quite up to snuff because they remove them because they launch at a bunch of different launch ramps. So they'll run somewhere to catch the largemouth and then go haul them somewhere else. And their largemouth aren't swimming back. But what I found over the years, Travis, and you'll think this is kind of interesting. I started catching some largemouth offshore in Lake Erie.
How about that?
Yeah, I won't be alive to experience when that offshore bite becomes world famous, but
You think it will be?
Yeah,
I spooned one off an
Wow.
18-foot hump in October.
Spooned him. What's driving that, Frank? What's
Bait
driving
fish.
the
The migration of the emerald shiners in the fall, they all come in and then they
Mhm.
leave and they go out, and the largemouth have ample food supply out there.
How about
I
that?
noticed as I was growing up, I noticed that I can start to catch largemouth more on the main lake, but
Mhm.
very close to shore in some of the grass beds.
Mm.
And then I started catching them on near shore, offshore structure, like where you would fish for smallmouth in June or in September. They started to use those same spots, and I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? And then I had one day where I was catching largemouth in 32 feet of water,
That's
and
crazy.
lots of them.
Do you feel like those largemouth could compete with an Erie bag of smallmouth?
No,
Never.
Not a chance.
Okay.
no way.
Very interesting.
Especially not early or late.
Yeah.
No. Especially
late-
not
yeah.
late. My dude
The
Ryan
late-
has been smashing 25, 6, 7 pounds on Erie
Yeah.
in the fall like it's nothing. Him and
Yeah.
Tom.
Lake Erie's turning into a big fish fishery.
Very
I mean, yeah, you
interesting.
saw that dude got a 10-pounder this year.
Yeah.
He was on the show with his son,
Yeah.
the father's son.
Yeah,
Travis
Grant,
got him on.
his dad run, yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
they did. They
I mean,
picked the
that-
stream for it.
That was stout.
Yep.
But
Do you think the world record will be broken anytime soon for smallmouth with what's going on with the goby population and the growth? Do you feel like that is ever going to fall?
I'm not sure, dude, because I mean, a Lake Erie smallmouth to reach 5 pounds, they did a scale study and it was 15 years old.
Good.
Well,
Lord.
the scale sample for what? Grant's 10-pounder, they came back at like 16, right? Then they talk about
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
That was a super old fish.
It's hard. I mean, how do you guess that? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know what the life of a smallmouth is. I mean, 16 sounds really old and at the end of your life. Yeah, but I mean, can a smallmouth live to 20, 22? What's the oldest smallmouth scale recording ever? And what about a largemouth? I don't know.
That's the mythical question.
Yeah.
But that's part of the reason I don't think the largemouth will ever attain where you could go offshore in Lake Erie and catch 15 4 to 5 pound largemouth.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it's going to be.
I
think you're going to have a few areas where you might be able to catch some good ones.
Right.
But Travis, I mean, crap, you made your whole world out of smallmouth. I mean, you know how smallmouth run. If you're catching 3-pounders, they're all 3-pounders. You get into 4s and 5s, most of the time they're all 4s and 5s. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to see that with the largemouth on the big lake. It would be unbelievable if we did, but I don't think it's going to happen.
That's fascinating. And you're finding them changing. I guess it's all about the bait, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. It's all about, a fertile habitat and food source.
Absolutely.
I
mean, think about what the goby did for the population. I mean, it's
dude, it's a protein marshmallow bomb.
Yeah.
It truly is, right? I mean, that's a great way to say it. So I got a question for you, Frank, Uncle Frank. So when you were on tour, you had co-anglers in the boat. You never right. And so in the years that you were there, what advice would you give to a co to say, if you're going to catch fish behind me and you're not beating the bank and target fishing, what's the lucky 7 rods and combos that are must-haves, and what would be in your hand? If I limited you to 1 rod, let's start there. What would you bring to catch fish behind Frank Scalish?
Oh, okay. Because you're not going to limit me to 1.
No. What's the first? If you needed 5 bites, no, it doesn't matter the lake. I don't care what lake you're on. Any lake USA, but
we're gonna
any season. This is a tough question.
Well, it's tough because you're leaving it too open ended. So you got to at least have a season.
All right. Take me through the season. Spring. Like it's
so here,
spring.
It's real simple. If you're fishing in the spring,
and
you can only bring 1 rod, bring something you could flick, shake, or wacky rig with.
flick shake. Weighted wacky for everybody who don't know what a flick shake
Right.
is.
Flick shake or wacky rig. Because if you're fishing in the spring, you're going to be around fish. The fish are all coming shallow.
Sure.
They're all going to be setting up to spawn, and you're going to be around enough fish, and you could fan cast that thing around, and you could catch fish that your pro is not fishing for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you flick shaking, by the way?
Me personally,
Yep.
5-inch dinger all the way.
All the way.
All
Damn
the way.
straight. Green pumpkin or like some kind of flash?
Green pumpkin purple, GB haze.
I dig it.
Green pumpkin blue.
Okay.
I wouldn't even have nothing else unless I was in Florida. Then I'd have June bug.
June bug, sure. 5-inch dinger, right?
All the way.
You throwing scent on it? You dip in the tail, or you don't even care?
Sometimes I'll dab it a chartreuse, but only at spec. But for the most part, I mean, in the springtime, you can get away with throwing that. As a co-angler, you get away with that all the way.
Are you throwing 3/32, an eighth, a 16th, 1/32? What are you throwing?
3/32 is my go-to unless the wind is too much. And then I got to put a little bit more on it.
Right on. Are you 8-pound leader, 10-pound leader, fluorocarbon? Okay, 8 all day.
10-pound braid to 8 leader.
Right on. 7-foot medium will do you right.
I throw it on a 7.5, but a 7.3, 7.4, 7.6 is all you need.
I love my 7.6 Loomis, man. All day
medium
long.
Heavy, it's good enough. You know what I mean? And that'll get you through. If we're talking about post spawn through the summer, and you're fishing with me, you're gonna have a shaky head. You're gonna have a shaky head or a Carolina rig. The crankbait rod is questionable because if they're not on a crankbait and that's all you bring, you're gonna get your brains kicked in. So I would say Carolina rig.
Holy shit. Listen, everybody, he said the words Carolina rig. Frankie Jr., I got to get your perspective on Carolina rig in a minute, because the old ball and chain. I read an Instagram post recently, and some dude was like, I don't give a damn if it was the last lure on earth. If I could win the tournament, I'll never throw a Carolina rig. And, I mean, seriously, like the guy went off like no freaking way.
That's fine with me. I would love it if nobody ever threw it again.
Same here.
You are a believer in the sea
I've
rig.
got them on it in St. Clair and everywhere, man. I love the sea rig. I'll throw it. I'm not shy.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely what's your football jig and a crankbait. That's
money right there. So I got questions for 2 Carolina riggers, because we rarely have Carolina riggers on the show. You see a lot of YouTube videos. This is the ultimate Carolina rig setup. I use, big game for my leader, blah, blah, blah. What is the go-to setup? And I know it can change, but for all purpose, if I'm coming offshore with you and you go, Eric, this is how I want you to tie your Carolina rig up. You both can go if you differ, but I'm really curious to hear what's it all about. And for the record, we had smallmouth royalty from Canada on. David Chong was his name, I think, right? No, David Chong. Yeah. And I asked him, what should I have been throwing behind Travis? Because I was in Travis's way. I screwed him up that day. And he goes, I swear to God I did, because I'm like,
I've been there before too.
No, seriously, straight up. Like you try to do what he does, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing back here? And I'm on my own. I'm not trying to look at the live scope, and if I'm up there, I'm leaning over. It's bullshit. I hate it. But
I agree.
You should have been dragging a Carolina rig around.
Should have been.
Like, damn. Anyway, too late for that information. We fucking all right. What's the go-to Carolina rig?
All right. I personally use a Powell 765 or a 764 endurance, medium heavy. 50-pound Power Pro is my main, and I use 17-pound mono as my leader. And I always run a short leader, 20 inches to 25 inches.
Okay, I don't think that's short, but all right, I'm digging it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't run those 3-foot leaders and stuff. You hang up on everything, and pretty much that's it. As far as
the weight, what's the weight?
3/4.
Okay. Lead
now,
or
if I go tungsten. Now, if I'm finesse fishing the Carolina rig.
Sure.
I'll downsize the braid and I'll downsize the weight to 1/4 to 3/8.
Sure.
I've won some inland smallmouth tournaments, Carolina rigging tubes on 1/4 ounce weights.
Right on. I love it. I've
for
done
the
some
most
damage on rivers with split shot rig. The
Yeah,
ultimate
hell yeah.
fanatic. You're damn right. All right, keep going. What
And
else you got?
so, and that's my Carolina rig. It's that easy.
17-pound. What mono are you liking these days?
Okay, so
I know, Frankie, you're laughing for a reason, man. He bought a bunch, I bet.
So I am kind of screwed on the mono deal because I was using silver thread, super silver thread.
How about
I have about 3,000 yards left.
Have you found a replacement? Frankie Jr., weigh in here. Have you found a replacement for this for the legendary silver thread? Because you know you ain't getting any of those yards of his.
If I'm not using silver thread, then honestly I'm using Sunline.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, but that's right. I mean, I'm starting to go to Sunline Fluoro too.
I put together a spreadsheet for him a while ago with all the different line manufacturers, and then 5-pound test what the line diameter is. So
I think you guys talked. I've heard you talk about that.
Frank did.
Yeah,
Frank
he mentioned
did.
it before on BTL, I think.
Yeah, because truth be told, because I got so dialed in with the line diameter and how deep my crankbaits were going and my jerk baits that it was freaking me out to have somebody else, a thicker line. They call it, 8, 10, or 12, but is it 10, 14, and whatever? And so I got kind of freaked out about it. And so he put the chart together for me, and Sunline diameters were really close to right on the money of what super silver thread and silver thread fluorocarbon is. So I just recently this year started experimenting with that, but not their mono, because I still have plenty of 17 silver thread mono left. But it's getting old and it's making me nervous.
Right on. You have any speed rigging tips because the big complaint on rigs, you hang up a ton, you have to retie.
Yeah.
Has anybody figured out a system for, like, what do? Do you pre-tie your leaders and you wrap them around a walleye thing?
I use a Lindy walleye harness roller.
Do you really?
Yeah, and you could put you could literally put 20 leaders on. And so what I do, like in Bassmasters, what I did was I would rig them with the swivel already attached.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And then when I broke something off, all I had to do is just throw the weight, the bead, and tie it up and go.
Glass or plastic?
Plastic, dude.
Plastic. Red or orange? Red or orange?
I go orange on the plastic, but truthfully, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, but never glass. Never.
10 foot.
Because
I know
the glass will crack and cut your line.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It happened to me on Eufaula with about an 8-pounder.
Oh.
Yeah, and it cut the line, and I watched it happen.
Oh, God.
I went to grab the bass, because back then we weren't allowed to use nets. So I went to grab the bass. The weight slid down. The bead was already cracked in half. The weight slid down, and boom, and off it went. And I watched that fish swim away with the swivel and the leader.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I said, nope, never again.
Go to Carolina plastic if you could only pick one. Lizard? Other? It's a hard one, man.
No comment.
Check back on the VIP live.
You gotta pay for that information.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
I have
Scalish fishing Patreon.
Yeah, I have three lures that I live and die on the Carolina rig, and I will tell you, yes, the lizard is one of them.
Sure.
No, it's not. He's lying.
I respect the lie. All
He's lying.
Lie. We know it.
You lie like a rug, old man.
That is so funny. That's so funny.
What's so funny?
Well, you know, you try to get like interesting information and like real deep dark secrets out of the Scalish contingency, and you find that you're not going to get it tonight. So
I'm going to give up the juice right here.
What do you got?
Number one right there, buddy.
Amen, brother.
What is that thing?
Dude,
that's the yum, baby.
Dude, how do you like that thing? Is that
I love it. Yeah, and then you mentioned the that guy there.
Oh yeah,
Christy
Croix. So let's dive into this, because the Yum Spine Croix is crazy good on a Carolina rig. The Christy Croix is crazy good on a Carolina rig. But here's the difference: the Spine Croix has real tight claws, very similar to a Zoom Speed Croix. The thing about the Spine Croix is it's a little bit longer body length, so your hook fits in better and you get more tail movement out of the craw when it's going up and down. You get more movement because you got more bait sticking off the back of it.
Let's talk about that hook in a second. Keep going.
Right, we have to address the hook, because there's a huge mistake people make Carolina rigging.
Cannot wait to hear it.
And so with the Christy Craw, the legs are wilder, farther apart. They move way more than the Spine Craw or the Speed Craw. So those three craws right there, I Carolina rig all the time. I Carolina rig a craw called a money craw a lot. It's weird. It's real tight. It's a real tight, wild claw, but it's tight. It stays close to the body, but I catch a lot of fish on it. And then of course the lizard. But here's the big mistake and I fell prey to it also, and lost a lot of big giant fish on Okeechobee Carolina rigging because I got convinced to change the hook I was using. They said you got to go to the bigger hook because you're going to catch 4 and 5 pounders, and you got to go to the 4/0 hook. And I said, no, I always Carolina rig with the 2/0. And they told me no. And I went to the 4/0. I lost one at a 6-pounder. I lost 1 over 7 at the boat. I lost another one. I don't know how big it was. And then I went crazy and I cut it off and I put my regular stuff on, and then I never lost a fish the rest of the day.
2/0? What kind of hook?
Yeah. So I use a 2/0 hook, and I'm using a Mustad Ultra Point Megabyte. And here's the reason. You only need the hook gap to be 2 times the fatness of the plastic.
Yeah.
And so when you go to the 4/0s, the 5/0s, them big giant gaff hooks, here's what happens. When the bass bites down on it, it has a tendency to roll the hook over in his mouth, especially smallmouth. And so what happens is you don't have as good of a hookup. With the smaller 2/0, when they bite down on that bait, it's going right into the roof of their mouth. Okay, because it's small. And Travis, you've been steelhead fishing,
man.
You've been steelhead fishing a lot. You land gigantic steelhead on hooks so small you can't even frickin' put the line through them to tie it on it.
Dude, it's ridiculous. I fly fish, Frank. You know that for trout.
Yes.
One of the biggest trout I ever caught was like on a size 18.
Yeah, which is
so embedded in his jaw, like he wasn't getting off.
They can't.
It was crazy. Oh, this is ridiculous.
They can't. So even if you don't use that hook, because there's other hooks out there that are equally as good. You just want to make sure that the gap is 2 times the thickness of the plastic.
Sure.
And then the other thing I don't like is a very long shanked hook when I'm Carolina rigging. Okay. I want a shorter shanked hook. When that fish bites it, it goes right into the roof of their mouth. Game over.
All right, Frankie Jr., you're next. Tell us your secret bait. I thought I could slide it in. He's not going. Travis, he's not going for it. Travis, he's not going for it. All right.
No, I mean, honestly,
so
Well, hold on, Frankie Jr. Go ahead, Frankie Jr. And then Travis, you go. I'm trying to get the secret bait out of him, Travis, for the love of bass fishing.
We just talked about all 4 of them.
Right.
You did. You did.
All right.
I throw a speed crawl a lot, but
yeah. It's a badass.
No,
yeah, he does.
So
oh yeah, he does.
So this year was my first year of really throwing a sea rig. I mean, my dad and I actually we won a tournament years ago on Lake Winnebago throwing a sea rig with a tube, like you were saying.
Perfect.
But last year was the first year I really paid more attention to it and used it a lot more. And a lot of it was tips that I learned from you in our previous conversations. I think on the podcast we did. And so, yeah, I do love. Why the
hell wasn't I sea rigging that tube in the smallmouth crush open?
But I just want to share something with you guys. And I'm going to make a video about this. So I've been experimenting a lot with that 6 cents pre-rig deal.
Very interesting.
Okay.
With a 1 ounce tungsten, and I like it. It actually, it has wire that's very flexible. I don't feel like once in a while I have to retie up here.
But you always double up your braid, Travis. When you tie a polymer knot, leave a long tag line.
Okay.
And then do an overhand knot, so you got about 8 or 9 inches, and your braid's doubled up to your overhand knot, and that'll eliminate that problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then, as far as hooks, you're right. So I started out with a size 4. I like the owner twist lock, right? So for this bait specifically, right now I'm using this is a 3. This is 3/0 hook, and it's a twist lock, so it allows me to, especially smallmouth and current and rocks and all that, I can keep that bait on there perfectly. Because a lot of times I found with hooks, with sea rigging, it'll come out, it'll get goobered up, and you'll set the hook because it's just going through a bunch of crap. It might look like that at some point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like this hook so far has done me well. But when I go to a bigger size, you're absolutely right. I can't get behind that bigger size. And I can't quite go to the 2/0 yet, but I think that's a pretty good for me. This work.
Don't be afraid of the 2/0.
Don't be shy.
Don't.
And then here's the thing too with smallmouth. For all the listeners out there, if you're Carolina rigging smallmouth, they're going to hit it one of 2 ways. Either they're going to pull the rod out of your hand, or they're just going to go dun-dun, 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 and if you start to feel all that little dun-dun, just keep it moving. Don't stop moving it. And then your rod's going to get heavy, and then just lean into them, and you got them.
Very cool. Good advice. Are you guys scent people?
Nah.
Believers or no?
It's not that I'm a disbeliever. I just haven't really played with it.
Okay.
I mean, the yum's got to smell. Yeah. I mean, and then if we dye the pinchers with an orange or chartreuse, those dye pens are usually scented. LPT, baby.
This ain't for cleaning windows.
No, trust me. Don't.
Dude,
put it on your window.
Try it. You should try it, Eric.
There's this crawfish. Yeah, exactly. This is the crawfish one. It's red in color.
Yes, it is.
And something interesting happens when you soak your baits in this over a period. They no longer become green pumpkin. They become this green pumpkin reddish thing. And maybe it works where I fish. Maybe it doesn't. I'll just leave it at that.
So you want to give away everything today too, huh, Eric?
Jeez.
Man.
I just had to, it was just right there. He says, "Yum, I got it's a scent. I had to do something."
I hate to say it, but if we say anything, I'm sure it's just right there. I can see your background, dude.
I got a knack
can't
for
make
it.
out what's what in that background.
It's so chaotic. I just wish I don't even know what to say. Anyway.
So Trav, you liking the rigging? You getting into it?
I do. I like it. Yeah.
Good.
It's
what's not to like, man?
I love a
yeah,
Carolina rig
I
bite.
used to.
Holy crap!
I go. years ago, I used to be all in. Then I kind of stopped, and then I'm doing it again. It's an efficient way to cover a bunch of water. I mean, for clients and fishing, like when we're just dragging and drifting, it's easy. But I still have a special, it's hard for me to decide whether I should throw a football head that day or a sea rig in a lot of different areas of the fish.
Both.
So I kind of go, it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know. I grab whatever and just fish it,
Right. And I agree with you on the football jig thing. I have a tendency with the football jig. If I throw the football jig out there and I'm bumping it along and whack, 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 it's hard to put it down. But with the Carolina rig, you can slow it way down. You could speed it way up. It's always floating around, especially if there's any current present. It's always floating around. I kind of, if I'm rigging, you can bet that I got a football jig on, Carolina rig, and a big crankbait. I mean, that's pretty much how I hit the water with the rig.
Right on. Very interesting. What conditions would you say a Carolina rig outproduces a football jig? Have you ever seen it? Like, man. Your football jig, somebody's football jig, and you're rigging, and you're just whacking the shit out of them. Yeah. You're both throwing on the same line, but what's the why behind that? Is it just their attitude that day? Is it the presentation? I mean,
man, I think that? I don't know, dude.
Pattern to it, or just
it's gotta be what they're eating, right? What they're eating is not right on the bottom. Then I would think, maybe bait fish are lower, running current breaks behind little rocks and boulders. I don't know. Gobies are off the bottom, feeding on whatever. I mean, there's a reason they're not. There's a reason they're not eating down, and they want that
little floaty.
And then
I don't know, dude. I don't honestly have an answer to the reason, but I can assuredly tell you, there's a big difference. And if they're not on the football jig, they're not on it. You might catch one or two. But I've seen instances, well, because I do it all the time. Even when I get on football jig fish, I still go to the Carolina rig. I think I catch more on it.
Very interesting. So you rotate it in. Oh, like if you're working a school of fish and they're on the football jig bite, you're going to toss a sea rig out there. Do you feel like you get a bigger bite on a sea rig?
I catch a lot of very big fish on it, dude. So I can't say one's better than the other. I catch big fish on the football jig too. Sure. What I really mix up the football jig, the Carolina rig, and the crankbait. And I really mix up the crankbait and the Carolina rig a lot. Because if I go through an area and I pummel them on the Carolina rig, I'll go back through with the crankbait and see if I can catch fish I didn't catch on the rig, or vice versa. If it's a better crankbait bite, I'll crank them, and then before I leave, I'll go through it real quick with the Carolina rig.
Right. Very interesting.
Because one's gonna be the main tool, one's gonna be the cleanup tool. It's just you got to just figure it out.
It's interesting because there were, and look, man, largemouth and smallmouth fishing are completely different. But there was an area up north in DC that big fish lived there, and it was a very small area, and there could be many boats in that area, and it was structure fishing, and you had to this was way before side imaging. This was way before live, nothing. You had nothing. You had 2D, and that was it. And I got to know it so intimately. I understood where, there was chunks of structure, let's call it. And I would go through, and it was all deep worming. And this was a lot of summertime fishing, maybe post spawn, right? Gotcha. And this was a spawning area. So you had a lot of large fish. In fact, the area near there produced the Potomac River record, 11 pounds.
Gotcha.
And it was fascinating to me. And I spent a lot of my days year over year up there learning how to because Larry Nixon was one of my all-time heroes. Read his book on worming, right? And a switch in color could produce more bites
Absolutely.
So then
Changing
a
your
switch in profile and weight, and then I'd go to doodle socking, like, you know, Don Iovino, brass and glass. I swear to God. And literally, sometimes you would just have to sit there and shake that bait. I'd hit the rock and I'd go tuck, 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 tuck. And I mean, for an eternity. And I would catch another 4.5. One tournament's up there. Nobody has the patience to do that anymore. I don't know today if you could go up there and live scope, look at them, but it was using your rod and your lure to feel bottom contour. Right. And it was the angles. If I didn't have my angles right,
oh, you better believe that.
A very small area, but color change, profile change, sound, silent, no sound. This is all with worms. That's all I'm talking about here. And literally, it was a fascinating experiment. And this was a highly pressured. It got the shit kicked out of it. And, you know, so it was really fascinating. It's just a lesson in bass fishing that, you know, I've forgotten. I don't do anymore because I never hang around long enough to do that anymore because of the people that I fish with. They're always covering water, cover. Anyway.
Well, you can do that today.
I digress.
But you could cover water today with forward-facing sonar, with side imaging.
Sure. This was actually had to use your rod and lure to figure it out. So, Frankie Jr., I got a question for you, man. Growing up around a guy who's like Norman to the max, are there any old school baits that, like, if you could just grab him out of his box, you'd be like digging for it?
I don't need
that's not made, colors that are not made. Like, what are some of your fond memories of old school Norman baits? Because I'm a Norman fan from way back. I love the butyrate. We've already talked about that on the show before. I talk about it all the time. But what would you go grab from his box if you could get in it?
I can. But I don't. But if I'm going to go in his box.
I see a sale on your next auction.
Yeah, 70-30, Eric. You in?
Oh, they're right there. Multiple boxes. It's called Old School Norman. Hold on, I got a couple that are right here.
Oh, here we go.
If I'm going to go in his box, I'm not looking for old school anything. I'm looking for his personal paint jobs.
Oh, dude, those are so sweet right there, man. The old school hooks on them. Anyway, go ahead. All right, what do you got? Talk to me.
If I'm going to take some from him, it's going to be some of his custom paint jobs.
Yeah, well, damn you, Frank. Why do you got to do that, man?
Well, he gives me some too. It's not like he doesn't give me some, right? So he knows if he doesn't give them to me, I'm just gonna go take them anyway. Like, here, I'll show you one.
All right, so here you go. I'm just gonna say it, man. This is a faded out, old school. I don't think you can get this paint anymore. The fluorescents are different. Frank, talk to me. Tell me it's true, or I'm just dreaming. Listen to that old school mock, bro. You can't. God damn, that's juice. That's juice.
It's the faded color, dude.
Yes.
Why used to
paint that way.
We used to lay them on the windshield.
Yeah.
And let them fade out. Oh, that's the bleeder.
That's nasty. Why you got to do that to me, Frank Jr.? That's one of my favorites. Super Spook Jr. Are you kidding me?
You know it, dude.
They whacked the shit out of that bait. Still today, like they did.
Oh, look, I got two more, Eric.
Oh, can we trade, man? I guess I'm faded for you.
You better throw in some of those glide baits you got.
Oh, whatever, man. We can talk. Hold on. Oh, Frank, you're killing me.
God.
You know, I couldn't stop without throwing some crankbaits in. I got to put new hooks on these. These were eBay finds, man.
Hey, man, that's
Travis, is he a pain in the ass to get ready to go fishing?
I am.
Oh yeah.
Frank.
Oh yeah.
Frank, don't tell me that ain't right. That you can't tell me.
Hey, if you could have one Norman color back, what would you take?
Oh my God.
He's gonna write it down, Eric. This is your chance. Don't screw it up.
I'm a fan of some of those sunshine gel coats. I got to look at my box. I'll send you a private message because that's a VIP color that I ain't giving up.
All right, you take your time on that. And we lost Travis.
Travis, he just like the stream's over. I'm leaving.
You take your time on that and let me know because we might be able to make that happen.
All right, man.
When are they bringing back money? Ryan Hartman wants to know.
When are they bringing back? When are they bringing back what?
Money.
Ooh.
He wants the money color back in the NSX.
Sleeper crankbait.
I'm thinking. I don't think it's going to go away.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, that NXS. The NXS is the only true hard dive in Norman.
It's a sleeper.
Yeah, that bait dives straight down, right down to depth.
Yeah.
It does a lot of dirty work. It's a good bait, especially in that 15 to 17 foot range.
Yeah, fried green tomatoes was the bomb.
Oh yeah, dude, that was sick.
I still got them. I'm almost afraid to throw them. You know what I mean?
Well, don't be afraid to throw them, but
I'm not.
You know,
almost.
The thing is with what people don't realize is that crankbait bills dictate how the bait dives.
Yep.
So like a DD22, let's compare some deep baits. A DD22 swims down to depth. Okay. It doesn't go 22 feet, even though it was one of the first crankbaits ever to be named by depth. It doesn't go 22 feet, 17, 18 on a bomb cast, 12-pound fluoro. That's your range.
8-foot cranking stick.
Right. You got to have the 8-foot stick for the distance, but it swims down to depth. There you go. That's the Tennessee Shad Gel code, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And so, but that bill design. So then if you go to Strike King XD, the way that bill's designed, it dives down. So it's not going to swim to depth. It dives to depth. Same thing with the Fat Free 7. It dives down to depth. The NXS dives down to depth. So shad wraps and stuff swim down to depth. So what's the deal, right? Well, if I'm fishing structure and there's suspended fish off the structure, I want a bait that swims down to depth because I could swim that bait through the suspending bass. If I have a big structural element that's got a lot of area to it, I'm going to take a diving bait because I want it down plowing the bottom the whole way through the structure. But so you have to know what each crankbait does to get the maximum efficiency out of it. And you have to know true depth. Because just because it says it runs 5 to 12, it doesn't mean that it runs at depth.
So a DD22 swims to depth. Is that what you're saying? Same thing with a DD14?
Yes. DD14 swims to depth, but DD14 bill's got a little angle. It's a little bit shorter.
It's a little narrower.
So it does the same thing, but
how deep is that going to go?
The DD14 will probably top you out at 11, 12.
Okay.
Now you could get away with throwing it on lighter line and get more depth out of it. But knowing you're smallmouth fishing with it, and you've got zebra mussels and rocks to contend with. So you got to be a little bit careful on getting down, because the minimum I throw any crankbait on is 10. I always start out with 12, and then sometimes I go to 14 or 17 or 10. I have thrown big giant crankbaits on 8 to get them really deeper, but you're playing a dangerous game.
Dangerous
casting
game
for money.
Sure.
That's the truth. But if you're casting for fun and you got a bunch of them, different story.
Well, there's a different story. But you're talking there's
a lot that goes into those bigger size cranks. Just launching it out there weakens, not just banging bottom, right?
Oh yeah.
You're going with 8-pound test, slinging that thing out there.
Yeah, because you reel it up everybody does it habitually. They reel up so much line to the tip of the rod. Some people do it shorter, some people a little bit longer, but each individual might have 12 to 2 feet off the tip of the rod before they sling it. Well, every time you do that over and over and over, that's going to be your weak spot in that fluorocarbon. Forget about if the bait's rooting in the rocks, because then you got a whole slew of other issues, especially if the bait's rooting in the rocks and the rocks are all craggy and uneven. Your line could be scraping across a rock.
Yeah.
You guys fish the Great Lakes, so you know the zebra mussel issue. You'll have frayed line, 8 feet from the crankbait, and so there's but you got to remember, guys, when you crankbait fish, depth is everything. It's absolutely everything. You have to know how deep your bait is getting. And because it's important, because do you want it just touching the bottom every now and then? Do you want it just above the bottom? Or do you want it rooting in the rocks? You know what I mean? So you got to know. I mean, I've overlined fat-free 7s and cranked 8 feet of water with it and plowed them, throwing them on 17 and 20 pound fluoro, because they're not going to want it. They're not going to get down as deep. I was doing a video. I was on this lake and I was catching them on fat-free 7s. In fact, I was using the next gen colors, and literally just, it was a crush fest. And we had to do a couple studio pieces to put this promotion together for the next gen. So a couple days later, we went to studio, we put the studio stuff together. Then we had to go back to the lake because I needed to do some B-roll of me talking on the side of the boat about the bait. We go back to do B-roll, and then my Joe, my camera guy, goes, "Hey, let's go out there. I need more B-roll of fish catches." Well, lo and behold, the lake had come down 2 feet.
Wow.
And so I'm like, holy crap, dude. Man, I don't know. I think the 7's going to be plowing too much. And so sure enough, it was plowing too much. So I just put it on 17 pound fluoro and went to hammering their brains out. They never left the structural element, but the depth changed. So I had to get rid of some of the hard dive on that bait to catch them. And so if you just paying attention to small little things puts a lot of fish in your boat. Very true.
Very true. That's why I guess the line size was so critical to you, the line diameter, because you had your lures dialed in.
Right.
That's why you didn't want to switch.
No. And Frankie's like, "Oh, I got you covered, Dad. Hey, check your email." Holy crap, dude.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
it
hate
was
to
nice.
see you try to do that in Excel. It would just be more painful.
No, I hate Excel, man. No. I'd be if I had to do that, I'd be 12 deep in the basement tying steel.
You wouldn't have a laptop anymore. I'd come over and it'd be in 12 pieces outside.
Oh, it would have been in 50. I'd go with Travis. We'd go steelheading and salmon fishing.
Nah, I teach you how to do some spreadsheets, man. I don't know how you can live without them. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I hope you got a lot of patience, Travis.
Like
that good old fashioned, Italian temper is still in there. Driving and technology will bring it out immediately.
Really?
Oh yeah. I can't wait till he starts trying to play with live scope or active target.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I'll be kicking that graph right back into 2D. It'll be going right back into 2D.
Dang. How about that?
You know what? I mean,
interesting. So you're still old school.
But honestly, with just side imaging in 2D,
yeah,
he still catches more fish than. I mean, it's
stupid.
I mean, honestly, so like on my boat, my setup, right? I have 2 graphs at the dash, but I only run 112 up front. Yep. So I'll put the map on a small slice, and then I'll run active target. But a lot of times, I'll just fish a stretch without it, and then I'll go back through with active target, and then see if the smallmouth are suspending off, because it makes that obviously a lot easier.
Oh, way easier.
Very interesting.
And see, and like here's back in the day. Well, back in the day. Today too, because I don't have forward-facing sonar yet. I'll get on the structure. If I see the smallies, great, and then I stroll around on the outsides of the structure back and forth with my 2D. And then if I start to see them in an area, I drop a waypoint, spin the boat around, get a reference point, and cast at them and catch them off the structure. Because that's how I've done it my whole life. We didn't have this stuff. You know what I mean? We didn't have it. You're laughing, dude. You said, "Oh, all we had is 2D sonar, and you got to go fish all the structure and da 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 da." Dude, compass and a protractor and a paper map.
Holy shit,
dude! You got to use what you got, right?
Yeah, right on.
Right. And so, when side imaging, I remember the first GPS that came out. It had nothing. It was just gray and a track and a track line wherever you went, track line. And then you put a waypoint down, and it had a number on it. It was like a Loran C or something. It wasn't even like a real. Anyway, and then I remember when, oh my God, they got the outline of the lake on it. You know what I mean? It's still gray, but they had the outline of the lake on it. Holy crap, that's so cool. And then all of a sudden, the mapping chip came out, and I remember like clear as day, the first time I put a mapping chip in my unit and saw where all my waypoints were and all the structural elements. And when they first came out with the maps, they weren't 100% accurate. Okay. They're not 100% accurate today, no. but they're pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good. I'd be like, oh my God, every moron in the world's going to be out here now because they could see this stuff. Because before they couldn't see it. You know what I mean? And okay, Travis, you'll know this for sure because you navigate big waters all the time. Remember the maps that we used to get from navigation where all they had was a number and a depth, a number and a depth, a number and a depth. Okay, so I had these maps, and for the most part, if there's an island, the island's on it. If there's a shoal that's shallow and dangerous to shipping, because they're shipping maps, the shoal is on it. Everything else subsequently is a number. I used to go and scour that map. Oh, there's a 40, a 40, a 40, and then I'd go, oh my God, there's a 29. And amongst all these 40s and 43s. Okay. And then I would go try to find that 29 on the map. I'd get my compass out, I'd have the map out, and I'd be idling around out there like a lunatic for hours. Sometimes
29 foot.
Yeah, sometimes they wouldn't be there.
Good.
Sometimes they would be there. And you can't believe the times that they would be there. And then I'm like, holy shit, there's no one on earth is finding this. Because no one on earth is going to spend that kind of time. And then they started with the contour maps and now the mapping chips and everything else. So, so what the mapping chips do is if there's a real reef, the mapping chips are accurate because everybody sends their data into the places and it becomes accurate. But what they don't have is the glacier deposits that nobody looks for off the structure. They don't have that stuff. So I still look for stuff that's not on anything.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It's monotonous.
That's the best. That's great advice because it's the stuff that's not on the map. It's just the bottom composition change.
Yep.
That's it.
100%.
Remember that time we were on Ontario, Travis, early season, and you could see 50 foot down?
Yeah.
I mean, had you ever seen anything like that? Visually seeing it, it was crazy looking. Did you see anything that wasn't on the map, Travis?
So,
did you? Okay, because I know that's why you wanted to do it.
We had a day with sunny and calm, and because there was never an open season on Lake Ontario until June, we never fished in March and April because it was always closed. But last year when Canada opened that special season, I was blown away by how how far down you could see in early spring on Lake Ontario. Like we were looking 50 feet down, looking like it was 20 feet.
That's
my
crazy,
God,
man.
dude.
So
I felt like I
said,
wanted to fall in. There'd be like,
I know
wanted
you
to-
wanted to catch, Eric wanted to catch fish that day, but I knew we had a very limited amount of, like I had to go look at a few things that I fished over the years.
it was crazy
Just
looking.
to see what it looked like, you know, like
I mean, these
I
big
know what it looks
continental
like on my
shelves.
graph, but I wanted to like go to some of these places. I'm like, let me just go look at a couple of these things since we're right here.
It was unbelievable.
And see, but see, you did the right thing because you had an opportunity to improve on something and understand it better. So Travis, you did the right thing, because if I was in that position, I think I would have done the exact same thing. Because if you seeing something is way better than not seeing something.
Sure.
Like, it
It's
almost gives you an
unbelievable.
immediate understanding.
Yeah,
Mhm.
straight up. That's
I
what,
tell you what, I
okay.
was
So
shocked. Some of those areas didn't look like much. I mean, I knew that big boulder was there. I seen on the graph. We went up to it, and man, there wasn't much around it. But for some reason, that's the deal, you know. But I'm
because
just glad
there
I was
wasn't
able to
much
see that thing.
because
No,
there
no.
wasn't much around it, dude.
There wasn't.
Come on, man. That's the magnet.
Right.
Yeah, smallmouth are weird, man. It's weird what they'll
they're-
hang on. Like on St. Clair, I found some crazy glacial grooves that were 100 yards wide, and it ran over a mile.
Holy shit.
It was just like, and it would turn, and then later in the year, the grass would start growing on it.
Wow.
And all I ever caught off of it were largemouth, and not very many. And it was wild because it was 20 foot deep too.
Damn.
It was like they wanted more just like nothingness near something. It was so weird.
Yeah, they like a little sand in the mix.
It was weird, man. St. Clair was weird, but it was fun.
That's so cool, dude.
Not as fun as Erie, though.
You know, a lot of people don't understand too. I don't know how it is on Lake Erie, but on Lake Ontario, I'll be in 30 to 40 feet of water going down the break line, and all of a sudden it'll be real true sand. You'll have rock, and then it's like there's sand out in 40 feet. Like you wouldn't even, if you didn't know what you're trying to look for, you would just assume it was kind of the same, because it looks the same somewhat on 2D. But when I when I saw the fish and I actually dropped the cameras down and realized it's just, you know, how the sand gets the wave.
It's got the current lines in it. Yeah. They do. Those smallies love that shit, dude.
They do.
It's crazy.
That edge.
I couldn't get those fish to bite though. For 2 months I stayed on them, and it was for the amount. I think I told you that, Eric, about that spot.
Not even the 3 pound test. Did it work? 2.7.
Yeah, we tried everything. I mean, for the amount of fish that were there, and maybe it was just a day. I mean, I didn't go to them all the time, but every time I went, man, they were not as fun to play with as some of the other fish.
They stayed put, right?
They stayed there. They were always there, but they were not active. I tried a lot of different things, and this was late. This is fall, and then even into late fall. That was just their little deal. And you know what it was? It was sand. It was sand, but there was also an old, almost like a tree, just a branch, and they would just hover around that stupid.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Isn't that nuts, man? It's like a mahi being on like a board.
Every time I would
in the
go
middle
there,
of the
they
ocean.
would be there, but I could not
That
get
is
those fish to really
insanity.
cooperate.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
It's like St. Clair.
A dumb piece of log that's 10 feet long off a 30-foot break on sand.
It's something,
That's so
it's
crazy.
something to nothing, but they like the sand. They like that sand to mud transition too, or sand to clay. Just that where it runs out. And dude, I can't figure it out. They're crazy. That's all I could tell you. It's they're the funnest fish to catch. Most of the time they cooperate for you. They're savages. I don't know how any other game fish could survive around them.
Savages.
Because they're just savages, man. I mean, it's just, they're so cool.
Hey, look, when we were dying on the vine, I looked over at him. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to start smallmouth fishing again.
Yeah, I know. I know. Sit there.
I love it. Savages.
But I mean, I love catching largemouth just as much as the next guy. It's been, and we get into a few here and there, but I mean, I should bring the frog rod. I mean, punching, to me, I think punching a mat is one of my favorite ways to fish. But I just don't get to do it as much as I used to.
French Creek. We had a chance. We opted not to. I know that'd have been fun. French Creek.
Well, okay, so
punching.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, are you far from Champlain?
Not really. 2 and 3 hours. I could go do that.
Close.
I know. But listen, the St. Lawrence has plenty of opportunities to do that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I just choose not to. But I'd like to.
I mean, that's a place I need to get to ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
Champlain or to St. Lawrence?
Well, both, but I'd love to go to St. Lawrence.
Everything.
See, I love Champlain for the diversity, because you could literally fish 10 different ways on that lake. And I've caught smallmouth traditional drop shot and deep ledges and stuff, and banged them out good. I've caught smallmouth jerk baiting over there. I've caught smallmouth flipping grass clumps with a half-ounce jig in 4 to 6 feet of water.
Man.
And I mean, I didn't know if I was going to catch a 4-pound smallie or a 4-pound largemouth.
That's cool.
And that's how it went the whole day. And literally the whole key was finding the milfoil mixed in with the cabbage. That was the whole key. You could forget the coontail. You could forget if it was all one or all the other. It had to be the two mixed together, and that was just the money for the day. You know what I mean, or for that event. But Champlain intrigues me because it's just, you could almost do anything you want in that lake and catch fish. Yeah,
it's very cool.
I
love it.
It's been a while.
All right, I know we did. I got a trivia picture for everybody. So, who is that?
Oh, you guys are such idiots.
If you know this guy, and you know what this picture is attached to, you win a prize. Okay, so who is it, and why is he smiling so damn big? Why is that guy smiling so damn big?
He hasn't been tainted by the.
He almost forgot to weigh in his fish at the classic.
It ain't the day he forgot to weigh his classic fish in. All right, so you guys got it. That's the young buck, Frank Scalish.
Wow.
Did you know? This is a little known fact about Uncle Frank. His pants are off. No. He's got them on tonight. Look at that young buck. He's running a Triton boat. What is that? What is that chartreuse logo on your shirt? Clearly, it was somebody you were sponsored by.
Yeah, Rippler Lures.
Rippler Lures. We're going to talk about Rippler in a minute. But I'll let it marinate. But there's something about Frank. I'm going way back in his career. It was a first. Here's a clue. This was a fishing first, and I know you know it. It's a fishing first on the Bass Master Tour. What is Frank Scalish known for? As a fishing first. It was never awarded, but Frank Scalish won it. It wasn't a tournament. I'll let you know. It was not a tournament. I'm only going to give us a little bit more, man. It was a fishing first. It had to do with let's see.
He'll give it away.
It would try. He was new. He was new that year. No zeroing. No smallest fish. Smallest bag. No. Rookie of the year. Ryan Hartman. Ding, 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 ding. Rookie of the year. He was the first Bassmaster Rookie of the Year. And it was an article in Bass Fan. If you want to read about it, you can read about it, man.
Oh,
so
wow.
How about that?
You did some digging. You did some
Yeah,
digging.
Man. I researched my guests. on this stream.
Hey man,
I mean, fuck. I mean, I guess you could call me the intern this year. What the fuck, Travis?
Right.
I still have his rookie card on my fridge.
Oh, dude, what?
Yeah.
Dang, oh, that's awesome, man. I love it, man. I love it.
I actually put those jerseys in a box and sealed it and have
2006.
them in the basement. Yeah.
2006 was the year, right? There, Tom, you know it, man. 2002.
2002, I qualified. No, 2002, I qualified. 2003, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, July 3rd, 2002. Scalish wins Fishing's first Rookie Award. So let's talk about how you did it. What did you do then that you don't do now? Give us some juice, man. What were some of the secrets to the rookie fishing?
I make money now.
Because professional fishing is a fool's errand. Listen, all you suckers out there.
No, it's not a fool's errand. I'd go back. I'd go back and do it again.
Would you really?
If I knew what I know now, I would.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, you would.
Sure. What would you do different knowing what you know now?
Which question do you want me to answer, butthead?
I don't know. I got
to ask me a bunch of questions all at the same time.
I can't.
I'm not 100% sure where we're going.
I'm not even sure what the hell I asked, man. But answer anyone that comes to mind.
How he did it, the rookie season. What separated himself?
That was the first question.
Easy.
Right,
That's easy. I caught fish.
Right on. All right.
No. It's all about being consistent. Anytime you fish the tournament game where you're awarded points and they accumulate to qualify for Angler of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Classic, whatever, it's all about being consistent. I didn't know what the hell I was doing as far as I didn't even know I was going to make a Rookie of the Year. I didn't even know there was such a thing. All I wanted to do is qualify. All I wanted to do is qualify for the next level and the next level and the next level. And so consistency was the name of the game, and so I put a lot of work. I mean, that year, you got to realize something. I never saw those lakes before. I've only heard about them.
Sure.
And so that year was a lot of launching my boat going, oh my God, where do I go? You know what I mean? So it was mind boggling. So I realized that I have to spend more time on lakes that I've never been on before.
Yeah.
And so they had, I think the first year they had a 2-week off limit period, if I'm not mistaken. And so I would go down there prior to the event and spend a week learning the lake.
Wow.
And then I was already down there. I couldn't afford to go back home and come back. So I would go to the next closest lake until I could get on that lake legally. And so that's what I wound up doing. And it was crazy because I remember the first time I went to Santee Cooper.
Let's talk about that.
I literally spent 2 days just trying to figure out where the hell I was going, because you couldn't leave. Back then, like a lot of these lakes, like Toledo Bend, Santee, back then, and the Red River, back then, dude, all the trees were still standing.
Oh shit!
So when you launched your boat, all you saw was a forest of trees.
Right.
You didn't see a lot of open water. It was just a forest of trees, and they had boat lanes, and you had to stay in the boat lanes to run through this place. So at Santee Cooper, I heard, because here I'd never been there, so I heard there were 2 lakes, Marion and Moultrie.
Moultrie, yeah.
Okay, so
I
how
heard
do
the
I
same
get?
thing.
Yeah, so how do I get to the other lake? Well, you run all the way down on this side in the canal, and then you run across the causeway, then you go through another canal, and then you're in the other lake. Oh, cool. Except that we're halfway down the lake launching. So why can't I just cut across the lake and cut through this swamp? Because it goes to the same place.
Right.
And they're like, well, you can, but you don't know where you're going. You'll kill yourself. So I'm like, okay. So I took a day and I literally made a trail for myself to get across the lake, go through this swamp and out the other side and come out somewhere by the diversionary canal, on the other side of the diversionary canal.
That's ballsy. Running 60.
Well, when I was trying to figure it out, I wasn't running 60, but I found there were some places that you had to be on plane or you couldn't get over them.
Oh, God.
It was just where the cypress trees and stumps were that you didn't want to.
Yeah, that's still ballsy in my book.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
And so that's
I'm holding on to my nuts on that ride if I'm in the boat.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was too every day, because you know how the GPSs go.
Oh, dude. No.
That's how I lost my lower unit on the Chesapeake.
Oh, God. Where'd that happen?
Up to Susquehanna. My GPS corrected itself.
No.
And I'm on plane ripping. And my GPS corrected
above the 95 bridge. I said bridge.
I was where you shouldn't probably be running. and my GPS goes like this. Dude. And I'm going that way, and my track line's going that way. And I went, holy shit. And I turned around, and there was like 10 spectator boats, 2 camera boats. And I'm going, no. And I trim the motor all the way up, and I stand on the gas, and I'm just like hoping I get over whatever it is. And boom, I hit this rock pile, and I turn around, and boom, boats are going this way and that way and everything. And I'm like, oh, I just took out a whole flotilla. And the guys, and some of these guys, dude, they're yelling at me. I'm like, dude, it's the first time I was ever here. Why you follow me that close? Right. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why, you know. Yeah. Brutal. I screwed myself out of the win that time. I wound up taking 3rd, and I caught 1 fish on the final day because I knocked my lower unit out the first half hour of the morning.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
To
be honest with you.
Were you on them smallies up there?
Yeah, I was doing both, mixed bag.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was fantastic. It was sick. I really screwed myself out of winning it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Wow. I had it in the bag, and it was just, I mean, here I took 3rd place, I think by less than 1.5 pounds, and I only came in with 1 fish the last day.
Good Lord.
And stayed in 3rd, which I couldn't believe.
Brutal. Travis, that's you had, I mean, we've talked. You're speaking our language. Golly. I got a crankbait question. I'm sorry to dial this back up. We went from rookie of the year.
We're good, dude.
This is an unscripted show. I'm sorry. I got to ask the question. It's been on my mind. So I'm goddamn it.
Go ahead.
All right. So computer board bill.
Yeah.
Crisper action to your crankbait versus Lexan. Clear.
Okay, well, but
does the computer board bill bother you like it bothers me? I like how it feels, but I don't like that there's this white thing on the front of my crawfish crankbait.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on the white thing in front of the crayfish. I that bothers me immensely, but there's pros and cons, dude.
All right.
I mean,
let's talk about that for a minute.
The homemade bait craze is what set that computer board on fire.
For sure.
The fact that it's super thin gives it some better attributes diving. Not so much on the wobble, but the pitch and roll and the dive. A little bit better attributes to that. But dude, I can't stand my bills painted. I can't stand color on my bills. I don't want nothing on them except a place to tie my line.
I know, it's like I got this nice little shad, but then imagine it has this milky white thing on the front. It bugs me, but it catches them still. I mean, but you know, so then I do dumb things like paint a lip like that, which I know is driving you crazy, but this is a crawfish bait. So, you know, that supposedly is, I know it's hurting you. Well, I'll show you something that's hurting you even worse. I painted a Dorito on the front of this one. That's a Dorito.
I don't know, man.
Oh, you're making me lose sleep, dude. All I can tell you,
I worked hard on that bill, man.
All I could tell you is this, dude. I don't have a painted bill in my box.
TK Stanley said, I showed that on, I was testing my YouTube. Like here, I got a new Wi-Fi. And so I did a YouTube, like I went live on YouTube. I've done it twice in 2 years. And so I go, TK, man, you got to see, do I look clearer? Because I've had issues sometimes. And I held this up. He goes, what the hell did you buy? It's the Crankbait's World first edible lip. So don't you guys make fun of my Dorito chip lip, okay? Don't give me no lip on this, all right? I experiment down here. It's the Bass Lab. What are you going to do?
Dude, it's the Bass Lab. That's what it's for. Yeah, good for you, man.
Exactly, man. I just had to show you as a joke. But anyway, no, I really wanted to get your perspective on that. It's been, I was thinking about that yesterday. I said, I got to ask Uncle Frank that question. And anybody else sound off too, man. You know,
I mean, look, you can't argue that. Yeah, you can't argue the success of that homemade style bill. You can't argue it. You may not like it, but you can't argue it because it flat out catches them.
Right on.
But here you could do the same. You could do the same thing with a plastic bill.
Yeah, true.
You can.
True. Anyway, I had to ask you. Thanks for fielding that question and assessing my painting skills on lips and chips.
No, dude, I think your painting skills are extravagant, but
with a Sally Hansen nail polish brush, it is for sure, man.
Yeah, but I'm not putting paint on the bills of my crankbaits.
Come on, Frank, you try to do tiger lines like that freehand, man, with a Sally Hansen nail brush.
Listen, it's beautiful work, Eric. We're not saying it's gorgeous, but
dude, that is good stuff, man.
Well, that's my rusty crawl, trusty rusty boy. Smack that shit out. I ain't lying. What is it about that goddamn yellow? What is it about school bus yellow? Talk about school bus yellow for a second. What is it?
It's how it looks in the water.
You always talk about that, so enlighten me, man.
Okay, so when you throw it, like here the other day I was out, not today, Frankie and I went the day before. The shad were dying in this lake like mad.
Okay.
Normally this lake's got great visibility, like 6 to 8 feet visibility. Okay, it had about a foot the day that I was there. And the shad were dying like crazy. The water temperature was 36 degrees, which normally it's 38, 39. Anyhow, I was looking at the shad in the water because they were reflecting this weird color that I hadn't seen before. But what it was they weren't reflecting the color. The dirtiness of the water was reflecting the light differently off the shad. So instead of them being bright white pearl, it was reflecting like this dim golden yellowish color. Okay. So you call it school bus yellow. Back in the day, Pose made a crankbait that they called perch, but it was exactly that. It was like that muted out yellow side with just green bars on it. Well, olive. At least they were olive. I smashed fish on that bait. And it was that color. So what happens is that color in the water is more subdued. It's not like a chartreuse, a bright color. It's not like white where it's bright.
Yeah.
It's subdued and it looks different in the water.
Yeah.
It almost becomes subtle. Okay. But when you talk about it on a crayfish color bait, you have to look at the other colors surrounding that. You've got your browns and your oranges gradiating into that yellow.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yep.
So now what you're doing is you're coming in with something really more natural, not very hot and unobtrusive. It's not like a fluorescent red crawdad bait.
True.
With fluorescent red and fluorescent orange on the belly. It's more subdued.
Yeah.
As the water temperatures warm, that color becomes more prevalent. Because in crankbaits, you guys got to understand something. In the early spring, everybody goes to the red craw.
Yeah.
It's based a lot on water temperature, but it's also based a lot on the biology of a crayfish, because crayfish have a tendency to change color with water temperatures or the color of their surroundings.
Right. Right. Or what they're eating in a grass bed. Yeah.
Correct. So as the water temperatures start to warm, the bass start to get on bait fish more. So that's a beautiful transition color in a crawdad pattern, because as it goes from the hot reds or the solid reds, that's the next transitional step before you start to get into your bait fish patterns. And then, of course, in the summer, you're throwing a lot of true shad patterns, or I should say pelagic patterns, because, you got threadfins, gizzards, alewives, ciscos, blueback herring, all that falls in that pelagic thing. So that's the deal with the colors. But there's something about that color, dude, that's remember that lure company they from Georgia, they called it a gulp or a gup.
A gulp. You're talking about Jim Harder, the crankbait maker?
Is he alive still? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
It was called a gup or a gulp. Anyway,
gulp's a crankbait for sure.
Right. It's the skinny, flat sides. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
don't go get it, because you'll be gone for 2 days.
No, it's right there.
So anyway, if you can grab that bait, Eric, right now.
Get it.
I've moved my flat side box around, but it's sitting in my flat side box.
All right, forget about it.
Challenge me.
But anyway, they had a color in that bait called moon glow, and that was the side. That was the side of the bait. It was a off-color yellow bone sided bait. Yeah. It wasn't true bone. It leaned more on the pale yellow side.
Oh well, since you asked, I mean, maybe I'll just show it. I don't know. I am good. Yeah, all right, it ain't the moon glow. If I fucking pull out a moon glow, you better be bound to me.
If you pull out moon glow, I'm spending money right now.
but I am going to show you Jim Harder gulp.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
That's the bait, boys. And
that's the bait.
That should be in the Legends box right there. There ain't many. That's a pristine Jim Harder. Damn it.
That's good. That's a good bait. Anyway, so that's the thing with yellow.
Yeah.
God, we go everywhere, Frankie, on these shows.
I'm sorry. I mean, but that's beautiful because there is no script. There's no agenda.
You
never know where we're going to land.
Have a second stream going somewhere else while you two love to speak about your hard baits all night long.
No, I like it. I was just kind of.
All right, I'm out.
Sometimes I like to be part of the audience. You know what I mean? And that's what I was tonight. So I'm good.
Poor Travis. You're like, dude, I've been traveling all freaking day, and you guys are making me sleep.
One last crankbait thing, and then I'm out. I'm going to become part of the audience because, me and Uncle Frank don't get to hang out often, and, I don't want to monopolize the show, but I can't help myself.
Go ahead.
All right. This is the last one. Why was that? Okay, it's an old bomber color. They don't make it anymore.
It's a deep flat A.
It's a deep flat A. We know the bait, but so Jimmy Mason, in my book, is one of the best flat A fishermen out there.
He does a good job, dude.
He is a hell of a crankbait fisherman, in particular early season flat A. This was one of his top baits in his box. It's old sun perch color. What is going on with that colorway, and why was it so effective early season?
Well,
Same
because
reasons we just talked about.
yeah, exactly the same. I mean, look at the side of the bait. Don't
Yeah.
pay so much attention to the back color, but look at the side of the bait. And
Yeah.
here, realistically, the orange and the little bit of pink on that bait.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at fish in the water, they do different things. Now,
Yep.
that's an old school color for sure. Because
sunburst.
today we could capture all that whole color skew in pearls if we wanted to.
Yeah.
We can make that whole bait look 100% real, all with pearls, but it's contrasty. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's pale pink, pale orange, and the pale yellow, it's still contrasty. You know what I'm saying?
And it's got a little bit of lime green in it too, separating the color. There you go.
Right on the scale pattern.
That's correct.
So that's that in certain watercolors that would look unbelievably natural. Like you'd freak out how cool that looks in the water.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like that crankbait I talked about earlier. It was that pale yellow with dark olive green on it. It looked great in the water for some reason. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a lot of those old school colors. Don't forget, they didn't have the paint technology that we had today.
Yep. That's very true.
But what's amazing is they still work today.
Yeah, they do. They do. I especially love the faded colors, and for sure. And
oh yeah,
you know, a rashed bait, you know, could you ever build that into a crankbait paint scheme? The rashing that happens or the fading that happens. Why does a bait get better when there's like a third of the paint left on it?
Well, there's two reasons for that.
Depends
what the plastic is, dude. Because
you mean like some of this old butyrate, baby? That just
because look at Eric. Thank God we're only seeing them from here up, guys.
I know that's the sound of money.
Because you know what happens, dude. The more you use it,
hey, I got my pants on, bro. I got my
plastic starts to turn to powder. Yeah, those are just chaps, dude.
The plastic does turn to powder in that bait, right? That's why if you ever crack a bait, that old ball could get stuck on the plastic inside the bait. Mutes the sound a little bit more, right?
It changes the sound and stuff. That's the deal.
Damn. I'm sorry, man. I think I just need to have a crankbait show. I don't know.
Travis is ready for bed, dude, and you're still talking about crankbaits.
We've covered 1% of what's just sitting right here. I mean, what can I do? I'm sorry,
bro. I got tip ups to rig. Come on.
I know, but usually you rig up tip ups while we're having the stream, so feel free to rig up. I was going to offer that earlier in the show. If you need to rig up while we're talking, we're cool.
No,
we got it. We got you, bro.
I do have one question. Because a lot. This is totally off topic, but a lot of the feedback I get is from viewers that are watching in the comments. I have a small predicament, so I'm going to Florida next week and renting a boat. Going to do a little offshore fishing and mess around. And I love to eat saltwater fish, right? Catch a few my yellowtails, whatever. And I'm flying there. How can I bring some of those fish back? Now I'm shipping down a vacuum sealer and bags and fillet knives and all this crap, right? What's your guys' take? What's the easiest way? Do I put it in a cooler and go to the UPS store? You put them on a plane? Dude. Has anyone dealt with that before?
I've never dealt with that before, but
you can't fly with it, I don't think. Unless if it's a day's limit, then you might be able to. But if it's more than 1 day's limit, technically most states DNRs, you can't travel with more than 1 day's limit.
So what if devil's advocate? What if you vacuum pack them, freeze them, pack them in dry ice, put them in a styrofoam cooler, and mail them to yourself?
That's what you got to do for sure.
Daily.
That's what you got to do.
All right.
How long does that dry ice last?
Dry ice and ship it. I mean, listen, I'm going to send it the day I'm leaving.
Yeah, I don't know how long the dry ice lasts.
It'll be there
a
day or two.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
Great solution. I like it.
Just overnight it. good to go.
Yeah. All right. Problem solved. Thank you for the input.
All right.
That's all I needed.
Okay.
Next. Been on my mind.
That's good, man.
Very good, man. Very good.
Well,
All right. Well, you guys have been super generous with your time. We
Very
all
good.
missed the national championship, but who cares? This is Monday Night Fishing. You can.
I'm
have
an
a
Ohio
good
State
thing.
fan anyway.
what's the
Right. So they
national
were out.
championship, Eric.
It's the National Fishing Championship for ice fishing tonight. You missed it. It's in Canada,
I don't
and
even know.
the Bulldog team won.
Okay.
Are they fishing for burbot?
I don't know what a bourbon is.
Eel
You know
pout?
what a bourbon is?
Negatory.
No.
I have zero interest in ice fishing.
Trav, are you going tomorrow?
No. I'm just
He's just getting ready for March.
preparing.
You're getting.
So I bought some of these Frables and I rigged some up earlier and then I labeled them so
It
you
looks
can
like a
see.
fish tape.
It's got 100 feet of 50 Dacron and then 75 feet of this for the line. And I'm
Dude,
just
way to
trying
take ice fishing to the next level.
right? I know. Yeah.
That's called OCD, and he
I
got it
love
good.
it.
But
I
he's
love it.
very prepared. He's going to be a good guide for those people on the ice.
Oh, is that you're gonna start ice guiding?
Once I learn it, I'm not. Yeah. it'll be a
Perfect.
lot.
Dude, that's money, dude.
I just,
He's going to be doing everything. 12 months, right, Travis?
I'm in. I want to guide year round, doing something.
Hunting, fishing.
Hey, just look at this. Look at this.
Right.
'Cause that's what that kind of life is going to do for you.
Hey, you told me that your bass boats were so fast when I was a kid.
Well, that's part of it.
I used to tell my kids there was a go fast button in the boat. Push it again. Push it again.
That's funny.
That's awesome,
Eric,
man.
have you been ice fishing, Eric?
Never.
Why not?
I don't like cold weather.
You'll be fine. You just need to go out with somebody with a shanty and a heater, dude. Trust me. I'll tell you what
There
you
you
need
go.
to do. Is what you
Tell
really need to do is take a trip to Lake of the Woods and go get on one of those ice resorts, and it's like half a single wide on the ice, and they keep dragging them with the walleyes as they migrate, and it's got a heater in there. Some of them are sleepers with kitchens. You can just live on the ice, drink beer,
Dude,
and catch walleye.
refrigerator full of beer.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, for real. They'll bring you more bait and shit too. Like they'll do beer runs for you. It's awesome, man. I did it one year with my buddy.
That's
It was a
crazy.
blast, man.
Or I could drive my ass to Florida and stay there all winter.
Well, you can.
Do what you gotta do, Snowbird.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. I got to do something. I want to drive across country to get to California at some point and visit the lakes that Frank's fished his entire life that I've never seen but read about.
Well,
as a
not
kid.
my entire
know.
life, just like a handful of times.
All right. I want to do it a handful of times before I leave the planet. So I better get busy because I turned 60 this year. So I'm ready.
What the hell difference does that make? How what you turned?
Because you never know.
Nervous. He gets nervous.
I'm not nervous, bro. I'm just a realist, man. You never know. I ain't trying to question nothing. I don't care if I got 7 years or 17. I want to start today. I lose my mind every winter. Look at this fucking room.
Well, thank God you don't live in Alaska, dude, because you got 6 months of terror.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Yeah, you're
You'd
right.
probably
I've
ice
been
fish if you
long
lived in
gone.
Alaska.
I probably would. I would have to. No question about it.
You'd salmon fish and trout fish. You'd be a freaking moose hunter and a bear hunter.
I'd be doing it all. No question about it.
You wouldn't have all them lures back there. You'd have freaking ammo.
Yeah,
Right.
true. It's true.
You'd be
Not
back
some
there
20-year-old.
reloading.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Tom says, how many spawns? That's how I'm thinking these days, Frank and Frank Jr. How many spawns do I have left on this planet? Where I'm gonna wanna get in my truck.
I'm going to
and
stay out of
drive
your
across-
spawning habits.
It's a sobering thought because you don't know. You
Dude,
don't
that
know.
can't make
It could be
things
30.
easier. You gotta flip that mindset, bud.
I just gotta go. I am thinking that way because
That's
it's
it.
forcing
Just
me
make
to
a
go.
plan.
I
Make
gotta
a
go.
plan. Just make a
Somebody
plan.
said, don't make a plan. I was over at Billy Kramer's house. He's a river rat. I've known that guy forever. And he's got a roommate right now, right? Because he's single. And the roommate popped down and he had grease on his hands. And, I look outside through the sliding glass door. There's a bike on a stand. And so Kramer goes, yeah, it's my roommate so-and-so. He goes, he's ridden across country 3 times. And I go, did you have a plan? He goes, no, I just started riding. And he Forrest Gumped it. And wouldn't that be fun if I didn't have a plan and I just got in my truck with 20 rods, took the shit that I wanted to fish, if I needed any gear, and just started going? Because the more I try to think about the plan, the more it stops me. I am definitely a thinker and a planner. I'm not a spreadsheet guy. But for me, my natural instinct is going to be, I got to know where I'm going. And I've been thinking about this for 3 years straight. This very thing I'm talking about right now, the Legendary Lakes Tour. And that's just a personal mission. And I've got nowhere. I've done little mini legs of it, like on my story on Instagram. But the more I want to make it bigger, the more it holds me up. And I can't do it anymore. I got to go. I got to go.
You got vacation time, or you plan on quitting your job?
No, I don't care about the vacation time. I told my business partner, I got to go.
So go.
I told my wife, I got to go. I got to go. In fact, I'm going right now. What if I walked out this door right now, just threw my freaking rods in it and started driving south?
You won't do it.
You're right. I won't do it. I got a problem. That's what I'm trying to work out on this show.
Call me tomorrow. Let me know what your dreams told you.
Eric, you make 1 million decisions a day, right?
You're right.
You make 1 million decisions a day.
Yeah, for business.
Just make the one you want to make, dude.
Dude,
what he's saying is make the million in one.
Why can't you pick one lake and just go do it right now? So Roland Martin, I was just watching his YouTube video, and he was talking about how the fish are starting to set up and spawn in South Florida.
Right. I'm going to Florida Harris Chain. I'm going to be there in February. I'm doing it. And I'm trying to get BTC. We're trying to do a little leg of a trip. I'm trying to talk to Eric, the intern from the Ike Live show. I mean, you already planned
for
Florida.
Looking into. Thanks for.
You're going to New York. You're going north.
You're going to go at BTC.
I see what's going on.
Dude, you were supposed to be like my co-guy on the freaking Legendary Lakes Tour. We tried to make it big. It started to explode. And where'd that go for us? Nowhere. We were supposed to be going to Texas in February last year. We didn't make it to freaking the Upper Bay. We couldn't make it an hour from our house to fish together and shoot a damn YouTube video. I ain't thrown a trap in grass in 3 years. I'm about to pull my eyeballs out of my head. I can't take it.
Go to Florida.
No, I'm still fishing my tournaments. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about it's on me. It's on me that I haven't done the things in the winter that I wanted to do. And there's reasons for it. But you know what? I can't let those stop me anymore. I got to do it. Right?
Oh, man. Okay.
I need a pep talk. I need some counseling or something, man. Frank, I'm calling you tomorrow.
Call me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Frankie Jr., Frank Scalish, you're going to get my mind right.
Be like Cher Moonstruck. Snap out of it.
Yeah. Probably what I need. I need to walk right out of there. Somebody needs to smack the shit out of me and go, what are you waiting for, bro? True.
That's what you want to do, man.
I got to.
You got to go ice fishing with Travis, man.
I got to do it.
You got to go ice fishing.
Why not?
I'll probably go ice fishing once with Travis, so he's not mad at me.
By next year, I'll be all set up, everything ready to go. I'll figure out these damn steelhead. I'll be ready. I'll be rigged up. I got the aluminum boat coming. I'll be able to get out there. We'll do some duck hunting. We'll be able to troll for Lakers right now.
Oh, dude.
There's a lot of shit going on.
Totally want to catch a steelhead. I've never done that in my life. That's on the bucket list, folks. Show. Yeah, no question. Caught some good trout, but not a steelhead.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go steelhead fishing.
Got a steelhead river 25 minutes from my driveway.
Damn, that's tempting.
Yeah.
Got like
I know.
What's your favorite setup? Do you float? Do you like the float with the beads, or do you
the beads good? I started swinging streamers mostly because it's easier. Egging and nymphing is hard to beat though, but you line a lot of them. You know, you snag them in the mouth.
You a center pin guy or
no
spinning rod? Yeah,
I fly fish for them mostly.
okay.
Love it.
Every now and then when I get a bug up my ass, I'll grab my crankbait rod and some big O's and go tear them up on a crankbait.
Big O.
Oh, they
Crank it for steelhead?
They mash them, dude. They mash them.
I caught a king salmon with Travis. That was a new experience on a crankbait, and he bit me. So I got king salmon running through my veins now.
I think.
Well, I'm so crazy.
Are they indecisive?
No, dude. It was bone jarring,
what
man.
What cranks are you throwing for steelhead then?
I throw shad imitators, Cisco's alewife colors. Big O made a color that, well, actually, I made the color for him. It's called Moon Eye Shad. Ooh. And that's kind of a Cisco-y looking color. They literally choke on it. I mean, choke on it. And most of the time, like I said, I just fly fish for them. But sometimes, you know, it's kind of fun just to grab the old baitcaster and go out and.
I'll say. What weight fly rod are you throwing, Frank?
7/8.
7/8. How are you wading, or do you have to wade deep, or is it like a difficult wade to go fly fishing where you're fishing for the?
It can. Sometimes we float. Sometimes we wade.
Yeah, I'll be on that float trip with you.
No, you won't.
No, 3D operations, bro. I can't risk a fourth.
Don't worry. He don't care about your knees, bud.
Oh, I know that's right. When you get a little crazy in your head chasing steelhead, people don't care about nothing. You're on your own.
We have some of the rivers I'm able to fish. I know we can use a floating crankbait with treble hooks. Some of them we can't.
Right.
You have to use a single hook on a crankbait.
Right.
And it's got to be the chain deal, I guess, or certain amount. I got to look at the rules, but I could get into that. I know for sure the salmon river is going to have some regulations. Some of these other tributaries, I can get away with it. But.
Yeah, you will, because they don't want snagging.
Yep.
But I'll tell you the flat out God's honest truth. When a steelhead hits a crankbait, you ain't guessing nothing, because they freaking maul it.
Wow.
And it is a ball. I mean, it is just so much fun. But I mean, I love fly fishing for them though, so I'm kind of torn between two lovers.
Ooh.
Feeling like a fool. I was told there would be no crooning tonight.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
You ever tried that single hook on your trap? I'm sorry, the whole single hook thing got me thinking about trapping. I got all this stuff I wanted to test with Travis to make videos. There's like 10 years of video shit sitting right here.
Boy.
It's the 6 inches in front of your face.
You can rip.
Now I can't make you do
rip that grass off without. You're fine.
You can rip the grass off with used braided line when you're snatching.
Don't care about the treble hook. I'm talking about something completely different. So on to the next topic. We don't have to debate it. I've had my crankbait share of the stream tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Fair enough. Listen, all right, let's wrap this thing up. Still a good amount of people in the chats. We've been
bloviating now for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no, good stuff. We covered a lot.
Senior keyword.
Frank Jr., thank you for hanging out
with us
tonight.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys, man. It was dynamite. Appreciate you entertaining me. I'm sorry I steered it towards the crankbaits, but I cannot.
No, we're good.
I absolutely cannot help myself.
No,
we did talk about sea rigging. We did talk about sea rigging.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
We talked about I tried to get Frankie to tell a secret bait, but that's okay. That's for the VIP Patreon. That's for the.
It's a square bill. Square bill.
Carolina.
Yeah, buddy.
But you got to go to 1.25 ounces to get it down.
All right, let's do it. There's so much ground to cover, man. Sinking crankbaits and everything. I had more.
All right, guys. As always, until next time. See you on the water.
Way to go, Trav. That's he had to cut me off. I knew it.
I had to.